What is going on, guys? Hopefully you guys can hear me now. We've had some technical difficulties. We had our radar product go down for some reason, and we just got it back up. So with that being said, we are currently going to be tracking severe thunderstorms that are starting to develop on the eastern and central parts of the lower peninsula. We currently have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. I'll go ahead and switch over to my product here and go ahead and zoom in. This is going to be for, I believe, Tuscola and Sanilac counties. So east central Tuscola and northwestern Sanilac counties. This goes until 2:45 p.m. Central Time. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail, and the possibility of a tornado. So if we look on our reflectivity, we can kind of see a hook there in the backside of that storm. If we go over to the storm relative velocity, we can see that there's a good amount of rotation in there. If we go ahead and pause it and zoom in, just to the north of Kingston. Now, this area just got hit with a tornado warning earlier in the week. And yet again, we have some rotation just to the north of Kingston. If I were to go ahead and track this out from Kingston, it's going to be about 3 to 4 miles to the north and a little bit east of Kingston. That's going to be moving to the east-southeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So people in the path of this, if you are in Elmer, if you're in Kingston, if you're in Sandusky, go ahead and animate this so you can see the track of it. It's heading just a bit south there, but it's mostly going due east. Go ahead and track this right along this path right here. Sandusky, Argyle, Deckerville, Carsonville, Elmer. You are in the path of this storm that is potentially capable of producing a tornado. The rotation is actually strengthening on my end here. So we may actually have a tornado warning incoming here shortly for this area. It would not surprise me if this rotation continues to increase. So at the large spectrum of things, we do have a potential for severe weather in the, go ahead and say the majority of lower Michigan. If we go ahead and switch back to our radar product, the reflectivity product, we have a line of storms developing now to the south of this, down by Flint, east of Lansing, all the way down towards Jackson, with more development back here to Battle Creek and just south of Grand Rapids. So any of these cells are capable of firing up and becoming severe thunderstorms, capable of wind and hail primarily. The tornado threat does look low today. I'll go ahead and put that out there. We could see 1 or 2 today, but it's not overly concerning. We're going to mention it as a big threat. So keep that in mind as we head into the evening hour. So if we go back, I want to watch that storm very closely up here in Sanilac and Tuscola counties. You can see now it's developed a nice hook on the backside of that storm. Go ahead and switch back to the velocity, which shows our rotation. We see the bright reds indicating inbounds and the greens outbounds. Then they meet and they form a couplet or rotation. So go ahead and switch back to storm relative velocity. It's a little bit better look, and you can see the area of interest is now just to the northeast of Kingston by about 3.5 to 4 miles, just east of Dayton, heading towards Elmer, Argyle, Sandusky, and Deckerville. The storm is moving east at about 40 miles per hour, and definitely have to keep an eye on this for a potential tornado. It is not currently tornado warned, but the severe thunderstorm warning does say tornado possible. We click on that, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You see the text down here where I'm circling my mouse. That shows your hazards in the storm. And tornado is definitely possible with this storm, as evident by the rotation we're seeing on radar. Now, this is not tornado warning. It is only a severe thunderstorm warning, but it is definitely capable of producing a tornado. So I'm going to switch over to chat here and see questions regarding this. Hillsdale County, twice, Branch County, Union City. So all the way down into the southern parts of Michigan, we do have a severe threat today. The tornado threat down there is a little bit lower than it is in the thumb of Michigan. The overall threat for tornadoes is low. We don't expect it to be widespread, but we do have the potential for severe weather in the form of wind and hail primarily. St. Clair County, you are just to the south of this storm. Right now you're in the clear from this storm, but you do have a severe threat with any storm that develops today, including hail and wind and the possibility of a tornado, but the tornado threat is pretty low today. Should we expect this in Macomb County? Not this storm particularly. You could see more development off to the south of this line, which we do have already. So just watch those storms off to your west as they continue to head your way. Severe threat is possible. What time in Union City? Well, I don't want to stray too far off this storm. I want to watch this storm, but you do have some development down there. I would say anywhere from now up until tonight. It's really just going to be dependent on when storms fire. We have good instability. We have good lift. We have good moisture. These storms should pop off any minute now with the peak heating, and they should die down after sunset. So just be prepared this afternoon and evening. No specific times for any specific areas, just because it's more scattered to widespread event now. So just watch radar off to your west. If the sky gets dark, or your radar, whatever you want to look at, if it starts showing storms off to your west, just hunker down. I don't want to spend too much time off this storm. I want to focus on this storm in particular for right now. But anywhere in the Lower Peninsula today, especially in the Thumb and along I-94, you are definitely in a higher end threat today. Again, the overall spectrum of things from the SPC, they put a marginal risk out, which is a low end severe risk. It's level 1 of 5. There's marginal, which is 1, slight is 2, enhanced is 3, moderate is 4, and then the high risk is 5. The SPC put a marginal risk out, so they don't think it's going to be too widespread. But looking at the environment today, we do have a large amount of CAPE, which is instability. We have good lapse rates, which could indicate hail. We have good wind shear in the mid to upper levels. The low-level wind shear isn't what we want to see it for tornadoes, which is why we don't think the threat for tornadoes is very high today. But the latest morning model did increase that slightly, so something to watch with the afternoon. Definitely watching for some rotation with these storms, but the tornado threat right now is low. So the people at Faster Horses at MIS, you do have a severe threat and a storm threat today. We'll have to watch that very closely as the afternoon goes on. As of right now, we take a peek really quick. As that velocity continues to turn right, which means it should be strengthening as well. So this may go tornado warned here very soon. We'll come back to that very quickly. I just want to take a peek down here by MIS because I know we have a lot of people by MIS. Switch back to the reflectivity. We don't have anything threatening right now, but you do have some showers and storms developing on a line back into the Battle Creek area heading toward MIS. So Faster Horses, you're going to be right up here in this area. Sorry, probably right about there would be a good idea, I think. Let me zoom in real quick. Yeah, Brooklyn's right about here. So MIS, you are going to be looking at a severe threat as well as a storm threat in about, I'd say, 2 hours or so, 1 to 2 hours. I'll go back up and focus on this storm just because we see oftentimes with these tornado-producing storms that they seem to turn right. When they turn right like this storm is showing, it seems to also strengthen as well. So I have to watch this very closely to see if this tightens up any further. The velocity here looks very convincing that this is actually showing signs of strengthening. So not a good situation right now, but we will continue to track this as this continues off to the east-southeast. So again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Sanilac and Tuscola counties. Just north of Kingston, there's an area of rotation heading into Elmer, Sandusky, Carsonville, Deckerville, Argyle areas. It may turn right and go south toward Watertown down here. But right now it's on an east-southeast track heading toward the Elmer and Sandusky and Carsonville areas. Rotation is moderate. It's not strong. It's only moderate. It's not weak either. It's something that we're watching very closely. The text of the warning from the National Weather Service in Detroit has highlighted the potential for a tornado with this storm. So we'll have to watch this closely as the afternoon goes on. And my radar is frozen. For some reason, my radar just froze. And it crashed. Awesome. Radar scope has been completely we'll just say it's not been reliable for us. All right, we got it back now, though. Let's go ahead and pull it back up. Give me a second, guys. That should be visible now, which it is. Now we have a secondary area of interest back here over Cairo, I guess we'll call it, heading into the Dayton area. I'll go ahead and switch over to reflectivity here. Yeah, so a secondary area of rotation now taking shape by Cairo, right behind the storm. So I'll have to watch that one as well. That's not particularly tight either, but it's definitely bears some watching here. When that green meets the red, it's definitely eye-popping. So again, severe warning is in effect until 2:45 for Sanilac and Tuscola counties. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail, and the possibility of a isolated tornado. Looks like we have some broadening out of this storm. Hopefully it cycles out. We'll have to continue to watch this. Again, the entire lower peninsula today is in a threat for severe weather. So this is not the only area we'll be focusing on here. We'll be focusing on other areas once the storm weakens to a point where we can take our eyes off it. Look at some questions here really quickly. So Hillsdale County, getting a lot of people from Hillsdale, Monroe, Calhoun. All you guys are in a severe threat for today. Storm and severe threat. Wind and hail are your primary threats. Timing on this is going to be anywhere from now, because storms can pop up anywhere at this point. We do have a line forming. Go ahead and zoom out really quickly here. Take a peek at the line. Go ahead and switch over to our radar. We do have a line forming. We just went tornado warned, so we're going to take from up in the Thumb through Flint down toward the Battle Creek area, pushing east. So anywhere east of this line, you are in the severe threat and storm threat in the next hour or two. We have a tornado warning now that just got issued for Sanilac County. Go ahead and click on this, read the text. So we have a warning for east central Tuscola and central Sanilac counties until 3:15. The radar indicated, the rotation is radar indicated. The timing frames are Sandusky 2:45, Argyle 2:30, Deckerville 2:50, Carsonville 3:05, Applegate 3:10, and Port Sanilac around 3:15. Pretty typical right moving supercell here is strengthened as we were talking about, and because of that, the if anybody from the MSC staff is watching me, if we can get a post up on that on the page here, otherwise I can do it here in a minute or two. We do have a tornado warning now in effect, and we have a secondary area of rotation that is now fired up behind the storm, heading right for Dayton, right for Kingston. So that is a secondary area to watch. So they may issue a secondary warning for that area as that rotation is now meeting and is increasing. Let's go ahead and switch over to our debris product to see if anything that we can see is on the ground. Go ahead and circle these two areas and go ahead and pause it. Go back to our velocity and circle the area of rotation. So we have one area, whoops, it turned the product on here, one area here and one area here. Now, if we go and overlap that with our correlation coefficient product, we don't have anything on the ground that the radar is picking up at this time. So that is good news, but the rotation continues to increase on the storm near Cairo. That is not currently warned. We also have an area of rotation now behind the storm that is currently tornado warned, and we have the warned storm, which is now heading towards the Elmer and Sandusky areas. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to post this to the page, so bear with me here. I'm working solo. Again, tornado warning in effect for Sanilac and Tuscola counties until 3:15. All right, so that is now posted on the page. Whoops, I see Mike already got it. All right, thank you, Mike. If you're watching this, I appreciate you. I'll go ahead and delete my post. So we got double posts on the page. That's not a bad thing. We just want to make sure that's up on the page. So thank you, Mike, for getting that on the page. And we'll go ahead and zoom back in here to our velocity product. So again, we have two areas of rotation now, one back by Cairo and Dayton, and one just to the east of Kingston. Storm is moving southeast at about 40 miles per hour, and we'll be talking mainly a wind and hail threat with the storm, but we do have some rotation. We can see a pretty pronounced hook on radar right here, as well as right here. This storm on the eastern part, this storm over here by Kingston has a better looking hook on it, but the Caro storm looks like it's increasing velocity. We'll have to go ahead and keep our eye on that. I'm not sure why I'm having random stuff pop up on the screen. I apologize if you guys are seeing that, but we have a lot of clutter here on Radar Scope. It's not a smooth product today. So again, tornado warning in effect for Sanilac and Tuscola counties until 3:15. Go ahead and switch back over and animate this. I'm working solo, so bear with me if I have some pauses in my talk here. No chasers that we have are currently on this storm, but we will be looking for any reports and any pictures coming into us on social media. You guys live in this area and you have pictures, please send those in if you can do so safely. We don't encourage going outside at all. If you are behind the storm or not in the path of the storm, you have pictures, please send it in to us, and we will either feature on our page or here in the live stream. The product you see on your screen here is called correlation coefficient. Basically just says if we have anything on the ground that the radar can pick up. So don't see anything on this product saying anything's on the ground, which is good news. We'll have to continue to monitor this as it moves to the east-southeast. It's heading right for Elmer, Sandusky, and Watertown. Applegate and Carsonville, if you are also in the path of this, you need to get to your safe place right now. So basement, lowest level of your home. If you don't have a basement, the center part of your home, an internal closet away from windows, and stay there. If you're watching us, we'll go ahead and give you the all clear when we see the storm has weakened. But as of right now, if you are in the Elmer, Sandusky, Watertown, Carsonville, Applegate, go ahead and say Deckerville as well. Anywhere around that area to the east of Kingston, get in your safe place now, your basement or internal room, closet away from windows. Rotation still exists this storm, while not tight right now. That doesn't mean anything's not on the ground. It just means that the rotation is not showing up on radar. Now, if we look at our radar beam from Detroit, we zoom out here. Now, the reason that we say, look at that hook now in that storm, that's really developed here. But the reason that we say that could be on the ground, even though the product of the radar is not showing that, if we go from Detroit's radar all the way up here to Kingston, that is 4,500 feet off the ground. So anything below 4,500 feet, this radar is not going to see. I was actually chasing up in Kingston for my first tornado intercept back in 2017, and that radar did not pick up that tornado because it was so weak. But still, very intense velocity signatures coming up in the upper levels of the atmosphere here, and definitely tight enough to warrant increase of velocity here in rotation and also a tornado warning. Questions that you guys have? I see a lot of questions regarding the southern part of the state. So again, if you are in the southern part of the state, anywhere really in the state here, we have another severe warning now just got issued, but we have a severe threat in pretty much the entire lower peninsula today. We have a line of storms from Flint down to Battle Creek pushing eastward. So if you're in Metro Detroit, Lenawee County, Hillsdale County, Calhoun, Jackson, Monroe, Wayne, Washtenaw, Livingston, Oakland counties, all that area up into the thumb of Michigan, you are in a storm and severe threat today. Now, we don't expect this to be a widespread severe event. We don't expect there to be very many tornadoes, but a few spin-ups are possible, as well as some large hail up to an inch and 60-mile-per-hour winds. I apologize if you guys hear me chewing. I'm also trying to eat at the same time here, getting my lunch in, because it's probably going to be about an hour or two before I can actually hop off and eat. So if I sound like I'm chewing, it's because I'm trying to get some food in me here before we have to zoom in here and buckle in. Again, severe threat for the entire state today, but we currently have a tornado warning in effect for Sanilac and eastern Tuscola counties. We do have a secondary warning now, just got issued for the storm behind it, heading into Dayton, into Kingston. It is a severe warning. It is not a tornado warning, but the text of the warning does indicate that a tornado is possible. That storm is moving east at 35 miles per hour, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and your hail can be up to penny size. Gina, I will answer you. Macomb County, same thing. Severe threat as a line of storms pushes eastward. Wind and hail are your primary threats. Don't rule out a tornado, but it's pretty unlikely. Yes, William, the closer you live to the radar, the lower the beam height of the radar. So, for example, we zoom out here and go ahead and roll down to Detroit. Click on this product. You can see here, if I click it and start dragging, the beam height will indicate what the beam height is. So if I go 8 miles away, the beam height is 400 feet. If I go 25, 27 miles away, the beam height is 1,600 feet away. If I go 50 miles away, that beam height is now 3,600 feet. So the further away from the radar you live, the higher off the ground it sees. Dundee is in a severe threat today, a little bit later on. Wind and hail, your primary threats, probably closer to 4 or 5 o'clock or after that, you'll see storms. The rotation right now looks to be on the weakening side, so I'm not going to focus too much on it. I'll leave it on your screen just so you guys can see it. But it looks like it's weakening at this point to not warrant a situation where it could be on the ground. So we're just going to kind of leave the radar screen up there. We'll go ahead and announce it again. There is a tornado warning in effect for eastern Tuscola County and central Sanilac County. And that goes until 3:15. The storm does still have rotation with it. It's just not really strong enough at this point to warrant mention of anything on the ground. We do have another storm behind it that we're watching closely. That velocity might be a little bit stronger in our opinion, but as of right now, it's under a severe warning, not a tornado warning. It is moving into the already warned area. So if you're still in the immediate areas, go ahead and list some areas off that are in the path of these storms. Elmer, Sandusky, Carsonville, Kingston, Dayton, if you're anywhere south, Marlette, Clifford, Mayville, Watertown. If you're in any of those areas, country areas, nearby towns, get into your safe place. We have 2 storms that are indicating rotation and moving east, southeast about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Nick is one of our staff members. He says, we just got a report of a funnel cloud near, is that Huns or Herds Corner, Cass City area. The report is from a firefighter that just got paged for it. So up near Cass City, there is a report of a funnel cloud. Let's go ahead and find Cass City here. I'm not familiar. I think it's a little bit south of there, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and Google that just so I can find it quicker. I know it's up here somewhere. I just don't want to spend too much time searching for it. I know it's up there somewhere, though. All right, Cass City is up just north of Kingston here. So if we are in Cass City, we're right up here. Okay, so the rotation from Cass City is, it's possible they could have seen one. Rotation is to the south about, go ahead and call it 10 miles. So it's not particularly close, but it's close enough. So there is a report of a funnel cloud from a firefighter in Cass City. They just got paged out for it. So we'll have to watch that storm closely to see if any rotation is indicated with that storm. But the bulk of the rotation is south of there by about 10 to 20 miles. There's possible that there could have been a cold air funnel, which is not tornadic, just because it looks like there's a boundary here. Cold air funnels love boundaries, but the wind shear today wouldn't be supportive of cold air funnels. Yes, Kyle, Southern Michigan does have a threat for severe storms. Port Huron, same thing. We do have a secondary line developing behind this one. So yeah, Port Huron, you're not out of the woods yet either. Dundee, you are in a severe threat as well as a storm threat today. The severe threat is not widespread. It's going to be isolated in nature. We expect it to be isolated at least. But the threat for some stronger storms is possible today. There's a line forming to the south of this area. This is up in the thumb of Michigan for those of you who are just tuning in. We do have a secondary line forming. We have cells now just to the west of Ann Arbor, over Jackson, and over White Oak area near Stockbridge. Those are heading east-southeast towards the Ann Arbor metro, up towards the Waterford area. So heading into the western Metro Detroit area, we do have some individual cells that are firing up to the south of these. So Detroit just updated their warning. I'm sure they probably trimmed it back a little bit. So once that pops up on our screen, we'll go ahead and read that. Still radar indicated, nothing confirmed at this time. Anything for the future Branch County? We'll go ahead and zoom out here just because the rotation is not as strong. Might be cycling through. We'll have to watch that close. If it cycles through, it'll probably re-intensify here in the next 5 minutes. We'll go ahead and take a peek at down here for all you guys who are asking about the southern areas. We have a line of storms now developing to the south. Anywhere from Flint, zoom in here, get some areas. Lake Fenton, Argentine. Down here we have Hamburg Township, Dexter, Stockbridge, and then also down here we have a cell riding I-94 just out of Jackson heading into the Chelsea area and the West Metro Ann Arbor area. So if we look at rotation product on these storms, nothing. As of this time, there's nothing rotating with these storms. They're just going to pose a hail and wind threat at this time. As they get closer to the airport, we'll be able to see a little bit better radar product. We just got what we call a mesoscale discussion issued for Michigan, indicating that we have a 20% chance of a severe thunderstorm watch being issued. That is unlikely to happen. So the SPC has went ahead and issued a mesoscale discussion stating that the Michigan is not expected to get a watch of any kind today, which is expected just because we don't expect this to be a widespread severe event. But the atmosphere is definitely favorable for a few instances of large hail, damaging winds, and potentially an isolated tornado. I want to focus still back on the cell. We do have additional cells firing south of the thumb. Like I said, Chelsea, Jackson, Hamburg Township, Stockbridge up near Fenton. We also have more down here by Coldwater firing up. So we'll have to watch those as they push into the metro, Detroit, Ann Arbor, those areas. But we still have that tornado warning still in effect up in Sanilac County. And we'll go ahead and switch over to our velocity and see if it's cycling through or if it's going to continue weakening. Again, still rotation there, just not as strong. We do have a message on the page now stating we have a secondary report. West of Kingston, Shaw and 46 heading east. That was about 10 minutes ago. So that's going to be potential. There's potential for a funnel cloud there right in this area. You can see a little bit of rotation there meeting very briefly. So that may have been a legit report of a funnel cloud just to the west of Kingston. Says this guy who messaged the page, his name is Matt, says Shaw and M46. So 46 is this blue line running through Kingston. I'm not entirely sure where Shaw Road is, but we do have a report of a funnel cloud with this cell heading into the Kingston area, into the Marlette and Clifford areas. So unconfirmed reports of a funnel cloud that a fire department got paged out to go look at. No warning on that storm. The warning is for Sanilac, which the rotation now appears to be very broad. I think I focus off that and onto this one just because we have some increasing rotation now heading into Kingston. So we have a correlation coefficient product here that could indicate we could have something on the ground here. Nothing that I see right now that this product is showing. We'll continue to watch this closely to see if anything pops up. If anything is on the ground, you're going to see a big old circle. It could be yellow, it could be blue, it could be completely black, depending on how strong the tornado is. Right now, nothing is showing on that product. Another product we use is differential reflectivity. This is a lot harder to pick out tornadoes with, but as of this time, we don't see anything on this either. Back to the velocity here. We do have an area all along this area here could spin up a funnel or a tornado. Very classic, almost like a linear squall line type of look to it on velocity. But if we go ahead and switch back to our radar product, it doesn't look like it's, I mean, it's not really a QLCS or a squall line, but it definitely has that look on velocity of a wind shift there internally. So all along that area, we may see some reports of funnel clouds at the very least. There's a pretty good turbulence there, pretty good spin. All right, so again, tornado warning still in effect for Sanilac County until 3:15. We do have some areas of rotation. We had a funnel cloud report. That's to the east, or sorry, to the west of Kingston. Unconfirmed at this time. The fire department is out there looking for the visual on it, but no confirmed. It's just called in to the 911 dispatch in Tuscola County. West of Deckerville, go ahead and check you out really quick. So Deckerville, you are in the clear for now. You are included in a tornado warning, but the rotation we're seeing is south of you. I'd be more concerned about what's behind this current storm, as it's not, in particular, a very strong rotation indicator heading your way. The strongest is going to be south over here toward Kingston. So Deckerville, you really don't have much of anything heading your way right now, but that could change. So just stay in your safe place and just stay prepared here in the next 15 minutes to a half hour or so as the storm passes. So again, tornado warning in effect for Sanilac. The rotation on radar has weakened. Area better rotation now to the west, about to hit Kingston. So if you're in Kingston, no warning in effect, no tornado warning, should I say. You are in a severe thunderstorm warning, but no tornado warning in effect, but the rotation is picking up. So if you're in Kingston, Marlette, Clifford, Mayville, again, Watertown, and if it continues eastward, Peck, Crosswell, Applegate, Burnside, Brown City, North Branch, be prepared. We're going to wait to see if they're going to issue anything else here. I have live issuance on my phone, so as soon as something gets issued, we have a new warning now, just got issued for Genesee, Lapeer, and Tuscola counties for hail and wind. So we do have another severe warning now in effect to the south of that one. Go ahead and look at our product here. It'll come in here shortly. You'll see the yellow box come in, but that is going to be for this storm, I'm assuming. Heading this way to the east. So if you're out ahead of that storm, it is now severe warned. It includes Barnes Lake, Millers Lake, Millington, and North Branch until 4 p.m. We'll wait for the box to pop in. We'll go ahead and look at the threats with you. So again, a new severe warning now in effect for Genesee, Tuscola, and excuse me, forgot the other county, Genesee, Lapeer, and Tuscola. And that goes until 4 p.m. Looking further south, we do have more storms firing now. Fenton, we have one riding 94 near Jackson, heading towards Chelsea and Dexter. We also have one coming up here into the Brighton area. That's over just to the north of Unidalia, just south of Ionia Township. Again, there's a warning box just popped in as we expected. There it is. And the storms are continuing to strengthen as they push eastward. Rotation is visible, but nothing at this point that bears watching if it's on the ground. Kingston is the closest that we see to being potentially on the ground, but again, it's not a very tight indicator. That could change quickly, but right now we're just looking at a wind and hail threat. At the very least, along this line of red and greens, we do have some intense winds. So if you're anywhere along this blue line and you're east of this blue line, be prepared for, at the very least, some pretty gusty winds, potentially close to severe limits. I have not looked at chat, so you guys asking questions, I apologize for not answering. we're focused on the storms right now. So we'll go ahead and read some more. St. Joseph County, you are in a severe threat as well as a storm threat today. A little bit later on this afternoon and evening, some more development is possible. Fenton is just to the south of the current warning. There is a storm that's popped up heading your way. It is currently not severe warned, but that could change. It is currently just starting to rain in Fenton. Again, the radar does not indicate severe weather at this time, so you should be in the clear for severe weather. It could get gusty, maybe some small hail, but right now there's no severe weather for Fenton, just a good storm. This is what we call scattered to isolated in nature. We don't have widespread. Like up here in the thumb is what we call widespread. If that was the entire state, we'd probably have a higher severe threat today. But because we only have individual cells firing, like one here, one there, and then a couple more down here and a couple more back here, it's a very low-end threat because the majority of us will not see severe weather, but the ones who do get affected by these storms will get affected. So again, going back up here to the current tornado warning, as well as 3 severe warnings in effect now up in the thumb of Michigan. Looking at the rotation product, again, we don't really see anything too concerning at this point. We do have this area of broad rotation that is currently passing over Kingston. Again, nothing that bears close watching or should I say, bears close watching, but nothing that's imminent on the ground that we see. Go ahead and switch over to our debris product, and we still do not see anything there. So nothing on the ground that's radar indicated. Let me go ahead and switch back over to chat here, and let me see if I can get some questions for those of you who are asking. All right, not many questions here. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and sit back and track. If you guys want to watch, you're welcome to. Again, we have multiple severe warnings in effect now in the thumb of Michigan, and also starting to creep down into the Metro Detroit area. We continue to track these storms as they move to the east-southeast. I have a secondary radar up pulled beside me, tracking the storms up to the south. So if anything pops up down there, we'll go ahead and flip over there. I have eyes on everything. I have 2 monitors, so we got you covered here. Coldwater, you are currently experiencing some pop-up storms to the north of you. It might be raining in town actually now. I'll go ahead and switch over to the Indiana radar on my other monitor here. No, just some cells that are popped up. Nothing severe right now. There's a potential that there could be more pop-ups behind this line. But for the majority of us in eastern Michigan, that is going to be the main area of interest. Anywhere from Bay City, Saginaw, anywhere south to the Coldwater area, and then eastward toward Metro Detroit and Lake Erie. That's the main threat right now. Timing today is going to be anytime storms pop up, really. It could be now, it could be 4 hours in the future. Today's a day we're going to have pop-up storms. It's not going to be organized where we can predict exact timing. Once a storm does form, we can get timing for you. But at this point in time, we really can't say specific times for locations just because the nature of storms today are going to be pop-ups. So if storms aren't already developed heading your way, we really can't give you a time frame. A new warning has now been issued for the Ann Arbor cell, I believe. The Whitmore Lake area. So where is that at? Down here? Which cell is it? That's going to be the question. So one of these cells just got severe warned, including Howell, Brighton, Whitmore Lake. So this northern storm here has now went severe warned. It is for penny-sized hail and winds up to 60. So it's riding just south of the I-96 corridor, heading toward South Lyon, Green Oak, Brighton, Wixom, Farmington Hills, Northville, Northfield. You are all going to be in the path of this storm. in particular Hamburg Township and South Line, if it continues its track to the east-southeast. And there's the warning just popped up. We'll go ahead and click that. We now have penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds that are reported with the storm. Timing on this is going to be Pinckney around 2:55, Hamburg 3:20, Brighton 3:25, Whitmore Lake 3:35, South Line 3:45. Getting some water in me here. Go ahead and switch back up to the tornado warning that is now in effect still. Again, nothing that we indicate on the ground at this time, but the winds are definitely increasing with that. So gusty winds up in the thumb here. We'll go ahead and switch back to the storm up here that is currently, severe and tornado warned. When you have that bright green right here, the bright green, that is very strong winds. We're looking probably closer to 60, 65 mile per hour winds, about 4,000 feet above the ground. So the instability today allows that to mix down to the ground very well. So likely some very strong wind gusts ongoing just to the east of Kingston. Nothing, if this was coupled with a brighter red area, it'd be interesting to see if there's any rotation with it. But right now, it just appears to be straight line winds with this area just to the east of Kingston we'll go ahead and track this to the east. About 3.5 to 4 miles, up to 5 miles away here. So 3 to 5 miles to the east of Kingston, you have a very intense indicative winds reaching 60 to 65 miles per hour. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 warnings in effect, one of which is a tornado warning. It should be dropped momentarily. The storm does show signs of weak rotation, but I wouldn't say it's concerning to have the warning in place. We do have an increased area of inbound velocity here, so I'd like to see a little bit more green in here to see a little bit better rotational signature, but right now it's just over Sandusky. Again, nothing on the ground that we see. The rotation has weakened significantly, so nothing there that concerns us at this point. The rotation looks to be weakened significantly. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and take our focus off that and back here to the strongest storm, just again to the east of Kingston. So if you're in Watertown, Sandusky, Marlette, and Peck, you are in the path of some pretty gusty winds. The possibility of a tornado still exists, especially when you get these green meeting reds right here. You do have possibility of a spin-up tornado that happens very quickly. Again, chances of that happening are fairly low, but just keep an eye on that as it continues to we'll keep an eye on it for you if you continue watching. So just make sure you continue to stay with us and stay informed here. And we'll let you know when the storm has passed. So if you're in Deckerville, is Argyle, Cass City, Ellington, behind here, Caro, you are currently all clear. Dayton as well, you are all clear. Juanita, you are all clear. You have some more storms firing back to the west of Juanita, but the severe threat for you is over for now. Vassar, same thing. You are in the clear. This storm's starting to gain a little bit of interesting feature with it. This may be showing signs of rotation. Let's go ahead and check on velocity. Yeah. A new area of rotation now just to the east-northeast of Ottoville. Right here's Ottoville, Columbiaville here, Barnes Lake, Miller's Lake, Otter Lake, North Branch, and Burnside. You are in the path of this storm. The rotation now is weak, but it does appear to be developing area of rotation now, heading east, maybe a little bit south, right for the Barnes Lake, Miller's Lake area. So again, I don't believe there's a tornado warning or a tornado possible on this. No, there's not. There may be an update to this warning to mention the possibility of a tornado. So again, area of rotation now just to the northeast of Ottoville, south of Otter Lake, northeast of Columbiaville, or northwest of Columbiaville, heading east towards Barnes Lake, Miller's Lake. So we'll have to watch that very closely. We're going to have to pay attention. We have multiple storms that are currently warned. Again, this tornado warning up here by Sandusky, the rotation has weakened to a point where we're not too concerned. We're going to keep an eye on it to see if it re-strengthens. But right now, it appears that the tornado threat right now is low for that storm. Again, we do have potential spin up possible that outside the warning box along this area where red and greens meet. But again, that's a very low chance. And again, another better chance for a tornado would be down here where the stormy rain's isolated. The rotation is weak at this point, but it looks like it's starting to develop. So if it continues to strengthen, we'll have to watch that very closely. All right, let's go ahead and check out some comments here and see what we got. Joe says we lost power, and I believe she was in Deckerville. Or no, she was in the Fenton area. Okay, so Fenton area may have just lost power for a brief minute. Nessa, we appreciate the shout out. She says that she wants to shout us out, terrified of storms. We do this as a passion. We're glad to do this. We're glad to keep people informed. I do not know who brought their cats on stream. I was not aware of that, but that's actually really cute. So we appreciate all of our followers, including you, Nessa. So thank you for shouting us out. Just north of Ann Arbor. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Joe is just north of Ann Arbor. Calm in Marysville, close to Port Huron. Believe there's a tornado that touched down near Kingston. We have a funnel cloud report. Nothing that we've heard that has touched down at this time. There was an unconfirmed report to a 911 dispatch that dispatched the fire department. We do have a new warning now in effect for Tuscola County. Indicates a tornado is now possible. So that line of intense winds that we are watching is now a tornado possible tab. We'll go ahead and take a peek at that after I get through the comments. Yeah, Doreen, we just had a tornado warning up in this area not long ago. So not a surprise at all. It's getting a repeat area here. How is the storm heading toward Oakland County looking? I know it's severe now. All right, we need to go take a peek at that. We can see both YouTube and Facebook comments, Megan. So as long as we see it here on our screen, we'll answer it. I see you're on YouTube. Joe's on Facebook, so I can see where these comments are coming in from. You can watch us both on Facebook and also on YouTube. I know some people prefer YouTube because you can kind of exit the YouTube screen and continue looking at stuff on your phone while you have us play in the background. Facebook, I don't believe, allows that. So we go ahead and look back at the storm heading into Oakland County. My radar would load. The radar has been very laggy today, so I apologize if it crashes or just looks terrible. All right, another thing I want to point out here is we have strengthening velocity down here on the 94 corridor just north of Grass Lake heading into Salem Township, just to the east-northeast of Jackson. So I have to watch that storm that may become warned here in the next couple of minutes. We do have an area now of rotation picking up, it looks like near Hamburg Township, just to the east of Pinckney. Make sure that's a rotation, and that might just be clear air. So disregard what I just said on the rotation near Pinckney. That might just be, that's just velocity at this point from a downburst. It's not rotation. But the storm heading into Oakland right now does have some pretty intense winds with it. So definitely be prepared if you're east in this warning. So Brighton, Green Oak Township, Whitmore Lake, Hamburg Township, Brighton, Genoa Township, you are all included in this threat. If it continues to the east, you'll be in Milford, Walled Lake, Wixom, and Novi areas, as well as South Lyon. So if you're ahead of that storm, definitely bears watching. Somebody said there is a storm that's intensifying up here. We do have very strong velocities now showing back up near Sandusky in that tornado warning. And we do have a little bit better green reflectivity now, velocity now showing up behind that. So again, tornado warning is in effect. They trimmed it back down. We'll go ahead and read it. It's still radar indicated. This is for, I believe it's, is this St. Clair County still? Nope, sorry, Sanilac County until 4, I want to say. Where'd it go? Should be until 4. It doesn't say. Usually it says until it goes. It just says it's moving east to 25. So that should be in effect for the next half hour at the very least. As that continues to work to the east-southeast towards Applegate, Crosswell, Lexington, you are in the path of this rotation. Again, we do have, let's go ahead and pause this. We're going to draw a line on this area here to see if this is clear air or if this could be a potential area for spin-ups. So you see how that line was drawn in the center? So anything to the east of this line is not associated with the storm itself. So anything to the east of that line is not a concern. So anything, this is mainly just gusty winds. This is not a tornado threat. This is just gusty winds at this point with the storm. My radar, again, is lagging hard. I'm not sure why. I apologize. And this cell right here, look at this. This has a very impressive bean-shaped hook to it. That is, I have not looked at velocity, but I would not be surprised if they issue a tornado warning for that cell. Yeah, the rotation is definitely picking up on that cell as well. So Columbiaville, Barnes Lake, Millers Lake, you guys need to be in your safe place. Currently a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for you, but the rotation is increasing. All right, Cairo Fire Department now has been dispatched to the area of Cameron Road and M81 for trees down on wires and across the roadway. Dispatched again for a tornado warning. Reported funnel cloud spotted near Deckerville and North Herds Corner Road. We did not see much in the way of rotation with that particular area. Lots of trees down with this storm, so at the very least, it's happening is very gusty winds, and that's going to be up here in the Cairo area, back behind these storms over here somewhere. There, up here. So this cell, it's pushing off to the east-southeast. Cairo's right here. The area of interest for the wind is way down here. So Cairo, you're in the clear for now, but you do have this area of gust front of wind, heavy wind pushing in toward the Elmer, Sandusky, Watertown, Peck, and Marlette areas. Marlette, you should be getting winds now. Kingston, you should be all clear from the winds. Watertown, again, Elmer, Sandusky. If it continues to the east-southeast, Applegate, Croswell, yet again, you are going to be under the gun. Tornado warning still in effect for the cell near Sandusky. Nothing that we indicate now is on the ground, but there is some weak rotation there that we are seeing. Nothing, because it's so far away from the radar, it might be hard to see rotation and stuff on the ground because it's 4,000 feet above the radar beam. So I want to shift focus now to the storm and the Barnes Lake, Millers Lake area. Very impressive hook on this storm. Very impressive structure. We do expect this to continue to strengthen, although I'm not sure how the tornado threat will play out, but this bears close watching as it moves towards the Barnes Lake, Millers Lake area, as well as Columbiaville. So we'll have to watch that close. We'll have to animate. You can see the green and red areas meeting. A little bit strengthening going on there. We'll have to see if that continues. And if it does, I would not be surprised to see a tornado warning get issued for this area. So again, if you're in Barnes Lake, Millers Lake, if you're in Columbiaville, if you're in North Branch, Burnside, Goodland, Brown City, you are in the path of this storm. Let's go ahead and take a peek now down here. We do have warnings stretching all across southeast Michigan now, including, this is Livingston, I believe, Livingston County. Make sure this is Livingston. Yes, Livingston County. And again, we have wind and hail are your main threats down here, although an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. We just think it's a little bit higher threat in the thumb. We do have cells now developing in Lenawee County as well as Hillsdale County. This is my area, so I know this area like the back of my hand. We'll go ahead and switch down to the Indiana radar for this storm. And this is going to be over, I want to say, Jonesville area. Yeah, heading into Jonesville, Litchfield. Allen, you have a storm now over you. No rotation, just some heavy rain right now as that probably continues to develop. Be close watching here as it moves into the eastern Hillsdale and also Lenawee counties. And then again, we do have a shower popped up near Onstead. For our followers who are in Lenawee, we do have the showers popped up, and that's moving to the east-southeast at around 30 miles per hour. So again, we have another cell riding 94 corridor. Switching back to the Detroit product, there is some hail in that. Currently no warning in effect, but if that goes warned, it is heading right for the Ann Arbor, Lodi Township, Freedom Township, Saline, Scio Township. You are going to be under the gun here for at least small hail. We do have a pretty good hail signature coming up right here, just to the east of Grass Lake. So that will be close watching as that continues to move east-southeast at around 30 miles per hour as well. So again, we have a pretty active day that's shaped up here. We have 4 5, 6 warnings in effect now, and the most significant storm that we have is this cell right here heading into the Barnes Lake, Millers Lake area. We do have some rotation with this storm, and in fact, it is becoming a little bit stronger than I want this to be. So I would not be surprised if Detroit went ahead and issued a tornado warning for this. Definitely some good indications there of some rotation. The cell up in Sanilac County still has intense wind gusts. Again, areas up there affected are Sandusky, Watertown, Peck, Speaker, Brown City, Burnside, and anywhere east and west of those areas. I'm going to take a peek now down here at the airport radar. Or sorry, not the airport radar. I want to look at the hodograph, which is a measure of wind with height. So it will tell us how the atmosphere is looking. That is my weather alert radio. I believe we just have a warning issued for Washtenaw County. I'm going to go shut that off really quick. Give me a second. I do apologize about that. That is my personal weather radio going off. So we do have a severe warning now. I believe it's going to be for Washtenaw County, which we were just talking about. I'll go ahead and double check that really quick as soon as it pops up here. Yeah, that is going to be for Washtenaw County. We'll go ahead and take a look at that in a second, but I'm taking a look right now at the atmospheric profile for tornadoes. We do have a environment in the Detroit area that is conducive for rotation. So now that I see that, we do have a low-end tornado threat now on the eastern part of Michigan in front of these cells. The wind shear right now looks favorable for development of rotation. So this is not a good situation for eastern Michigan. Again, not a huge threat today, but definitely bears watching as these storms continue to move to the east and a little bit south with that movement. So yeah, I did say Scio Township. This storm, I'll go ahead and take a peek at the radar one more time. Washtenaw County just got issued under a severe warning. This is going to be for the entire Ann Arbor area, Saline, York Charter Township, Bridgewater, Lodi, Scio, Dexter, Chelsea, Sylvan, Sharon Township, all the way over into the Ypsi area. Looks like it just stopped short of the Willow Run Airport, just short of Canton, Plymouth, and Northville. So again, this warning is going to be in effect until 4 o'clock, and your hazards are 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that is going to be for Washtenaw County. I'll go ahead and switch over to our product for the radar so you guys can get a better look at this. This is a velocity, which shows rotation product. This storm is also starting to look like it could be starting to rotate as well. I'll have to watch that closely as it moves toward the Ann Arbor metro area. That is a very populated area as well. So again, not a good situation unfolding here for southeastern Michigan. Many storms are starting to rotate with these, although we don't expect there to be very many tornadoes. Today, we could see 1 or 2 in the state. Now, we do have a new tornado warning that has been issued for that cell we've been watching near Barnes Lake, Millers Lake. I am not surprised at that at all. We do have some rotation, still weak to moderate, nothing strong indicating anything on the ground. But this area right here, just to the east of Columbiaville and just to the west and a little south of Barnes Lake, Millers Lake, that is tracking to the southeast at around 30 miles per hour. Go ahead and animate that. It'll head toward the Goodland, heading toward directly for Goodland, Inlay City, Attica, Lapeer if it turns very far right. Although Lapeer, you should stay out of this storm. You should be clear. So Goodland, Inlay City, Barnes Lake, Millers Lake, possible rotation. Not possible. There is rotation with that storm that could develop into a potential tornado. Now we do have a secondary warning. Up here in the Applegate area that still has not been dropped. There is some weak rotation last time we checked. Go ahead and check again. And again, still some weak rotation there, but the majority of our concern is with this heavy wind stretching all the way from Sandusky all the way down to, go ahead and call it Burnside, just to the north of Burnside and Brown City. So again, severe warnings are stretching all the way from the thumb all the way pretty much down to the Ohio border. all the way down to Washington at the very least. We'll probably get a few more warnings coming in for our Metro Detroit area. I would not be surprised to see warnings for Hillsdale or Lenawee pop in here momentarily for these storms that are developing. I'm going to watch this storm down here by Ann Arbor very closely. There's a good hail core with it, and it's starting to kind of get that look that it could be developing some rotation on the backside of that. So we'll have to watch that close as it continues to move east and mainly east, a little bit south potentially. So yeah, again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 warnings now in effect for southeast Michigan, mainly for wind and hail, but we have storms that have begun to rotate. So we have 2 warnings for tornadoes in effect that are currently unconfirmed. They are radar indicated, so nothing has been confirmed. We have gotten reports of funnel clouds up in the Deckerville, also the Caro area. But again, nothing has been reported as on the ground. We just have some storms that are broadly rotating, and they bear close watching here. And that's why the NWS is issuing these warnings with tornado possible tags. So again, we have a large area of southeast Michigan in effect or in a severe threat today. Again, there's a possibility of more storms behind these. So if you're anywhere west of these storms over by Grand Rapids, Lansing, Kalamazoo, you're not out of the woods just yet. But definitely the highest threat for severe weather today looks to be developing into the eastern part of the lower peninsula. So questions, guys, if we want to take some really quickly. I don't want to dwell too much. I want to keep looking at these radar here. Metro Detroit Airport, if that storm continues to move east in Ann Arbor area, you will get impacted in the next hour or two. Macomb County, same thing. You do have storms off to your west. If you're anywhere east of these lines, so if you're in Macomb County, Wayne County, Washtenaw, Monroe, Lenawee, Oakland, you are under the gun for storms and potential severe weather. Any Michigan storm chasers in the area of the tornadoes? So no, we don't have anybody chasing currently. If we do have people chasing, we will go live with them. But currently, it's just me here watching radar. Most of the guys are at work, so. Just not really a day that we thought would pop off like this. So we didn't really think to get in position. Looking at the morning models, it's not a surprise that it's developing the way it is just because we have a lot of CAPE, which is instability, and we have a lot of wind shear today. So the model picking up on the wind shear this morning turned out to be right. So we mentioned our forecast this morning. We could have an increased potential for a spin-up tornado because one of the models was throwing out higher wind shear values, and that does appear to be happening. So we do have that potential for a tornado or two. Nothing has been confirmed touchdown at this point. We do have a couple of funnel cloud reports. That's about it. All right, let's see here. Any chance of a tornado in Macomb County? So I'm going to go ahead and say there's a small chance. I want to say it's unlikely just because of the atmosphere today. It doesn't really support tornadoes. We'd like to see a little bit more in the way of low-level shear, as well as what we call lapse rates. The mid-level lapse rates for updrafts to continue to strengthen is a little weaker today, so these storms may not be as robust as we'd like. But there is some wind shear there to suggest a isolated tornado threat does exist. So a low chance, but it's unlikely. So Sarah, if this storm, I live just south of the current warning in Ann Arbor. If that storm in Lenawee County continues to strengthen, I might go out. But as of right now, I want to stay here and keep you guys safe. So I'll probably just stay here. Excuse me, unless we have somebody else from the staff to hop on here. Sirens are going off in Lapeer. Yes, Joe, we are volunteers. We are not paid. We do this voluntarily. If you guys want to support us, you can subscribe to our Facebook. We also have a Patreon. We post forecast discussions to our subscribers hours before we release it to the public. So you guys are the first to know. We also have like a merchandise store. You can support us. So you buy some MSC merch. But we are 100% self-funded for right now. Rotation on this storm up in the thumb of Michigan appears again to be broad to moderate. Nothing that would suggest anything touching down in the next 5 to 10 minutes. We do have areas up here, a line from Sandusky down to Brown City of higher wind velocity. So straight line winds are possible, as this blob of rain continues to push to the east-southeast towards Croswell, Lexington, Peck, Speaker, Melvin, Brown City, Watertown, if I haven't said it already, Port Sanilac as well, Yale, Brockway. You are all in the path of the highest winds. 2 warnings for tornadoes in effect, one up here near Port Sanilac. That expires in 4 minutes. I'm sure they're going to let that expire. And the other one is by Barnes Lake, Millers Lake. I have not seen any reports of any damage or anything on the ground from either of these tornadoes. Again, we just had one funnel report up near the Deckerville. I think we had a secondary report near Caro as well. So again, we have multiple warnings in effect here across southeast Michigan. We'll take a peek down here at the ones in Southline and Ann Arbor. We switch over to the velocity product. We do have an area of hail and possible rotation forming now to the east of Grass Lake. I believe it's going to be hail, though. I'm going to make sure about that, though. Yeah, that's going to be hail. That's not going to be a tornadic rotation at this time, but this cell, any cell today is capable of producing rotation. And up here in Hamburg Township, I believe it's going to be the exact same story. We have probably some good hail going on there. My radar probably would load. Yeah, so good hail there. We see that red indentation. That's a downburst happening. So some hail and probably some good winds with the storm heading over Hamburg and into Whitmore Lake into Southline. So if you're in Southline, Novi, Northville, Salem Township, Wixom, Walled Lake, to go ahead and take your safety precautions, get inside. I wouldn't say go to your basement. The tornado threat in the storm looks to be low, but definitely some gusty winds and worth being inside for. You don't want to get a quarter-size hailstone on your head. So the storm down in Hillsdale County continues to strengthen and push into the Hillsdale metro. I'm not going to say metro, but the Hillsdale city area. That's going to head into the Lenawee County, Addison area, Onstead here in the next hour or so. Watch that closely as well. So we have a lot of people on here, so I want to thank you guys for watching. We have a pretty significant severe weather event. We have 8 warnings currently in effect. We've had 1 funnel cloud report and 2 tornado warnings in effect currently. We don't expect this to be a huge severe weather day, but definitely isolated severe weather is possible, and I think Detroit is caught onto that pretty well. We're issuing warnings very, very efficiently here, so. Chuck E. Cheese says there was a tornado in Sandusky. I did not see that on radar. I don't see any evidence of a tornado on radar. If you have any reports from 911 dispatch or any damage reports from the Sandusky area, go ahead and message us those. I don't see anything here in Sandusky that would indicate that a tornado occurred. Not to say it wouldn't, but I don't see anything here. Lenawee County, you have a storm that's currently weakening between Tecumseh and Adrian. Then we have a secondary storm that looks to be strengthening over Jonesville to the west in Hillsdale County, pushing your way. So Lenawee be on alert here the next hour to 2 hours. Ann Arbor area. If you're in the Ann Arbor Saline area, we have a storm now heading your way, and that appears to be gaining a little bit of rotation on it now. I'm looking at my other radar product here. It looks to be intensifying as well. So I have to watch that area down here very closely for any rotation. Nothing that is on this product yet, but the area of interest should be just between Lima Township here and Freedom Township. My radar is lagging hard today. I apologize, guys. I am not sure what's up with radar scope, but it's definitely not acting like I want it to today. All right, questions. The only thing I've seen, Chuck E. Cheese, is a funnel cloud report. So if she saw a tornado or has any information on that, relay that to us if you can. All right, get some questions about Oxford. So Oxford, you are going to be just north of Auburn Hills. Go ahead and zoom up here. Point this out really quick. Increasing reflectivity and velocity now over the Southline Whitmore Lake area. So watch that area for some downbursts. Up here near where you're asking, where'd you go? There you are, Oxford. Go ahead and switch over here to reflectivity. Again, my radar is not really cooperating with me very well. So, all right, Oxford, you are going to be just on the northern fringe of this cell heading to the east-southeast. You should be in the clear in Oxford unless this starts moving to the north or continues to develop to the north. You should be in the clear in Oxford. Potential for more storms behind this line is possible. We're just kind of unsure at this point. Again, tornado warning in effect for Columbiaville. It's going to be for Lapeer County. That goes until, let's see, 3:45. Yes, 3:45. All right, now we have some good hail coming in up to the thumb of Michigan on that storm. Checking rotation product here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Rotation remains to be broad, nothing concerning to be on the ground at this point. We do have a significant amount of hail now falling on the storm. It might be on its last leg. If you're in Carsonville, if you're in Port Sanilac, you are going to be taking some large hail with this hail core. That is an intense hail core. That could be over an inch diameter. Yeah, that's pretty intense. So if you're in Port Sanilac and Carsonville, Applegate, anywhere in between there, before it heads on to the lake, you are going to be in for some very large hail. Hopefully it's not as big as radar's picking up here, but definitely catches my eye for very large hail there. Yeah, that's maxed out the VIL, so that is a good indicator of very heavy rain as well as large hail. So as that continues on to the lake, we have more storms to the south of that. Clarkston, Ortonville, Lake Orion, Oxford. Although Oxford should be on the northern fringe of that storm, no severe weather for Oxford should occur. Lapeer, you have a storm over you heading into Attica and Dryden. Down here in Washtenaw County and Livingston counties, you have a storm over Southline that has increased on its velocity. As you can see there, that is a classic downburst that is ongoing in Whitmore Lake. So if you're in Whitmore Lake, you're probably getting some pretty intense winds there. If you're in Southline, you'll be getting those winds in the next 20 minutes. Glory, we use a plethora of apps. For radar, we used Radar Scope, which is what we're using now. I personally, for my personal use to kind of check temperatures for the day, if I don't look at models, I use Weather Underground. It's pretty accurate in my opinion. It'll send you alerts as well. There's an option to turn the alerts on for your county and your location. So that's the one I use. But for more advanced stuff, Radar Scope is a good one. Radar Omega is a good one. We also use an app called WX23 that gives us like real-time data and stuff like that. I got some more questions coming in. Mount Clemens. Mount Clemens, you're going to be in a severe threat today. Go ahead and zoom out here and see what's coming towards you. Come on. Again, my radar is very slow today. I'm not sure why, but we do have storms heading into the Mount Clemens. Heading to the east-southeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So you're still about an hour or two away from impact there in Mount Clemens, but just be prepared as the afternoon goes on. Okay, we have a new tornado warning now that just got issued for the exact same storm that has been tornado warning. I'm not surprised it did that, but it's for a different area. So yeah, there you go. So we have an interesting feature here just to the south of Carsonville. That is going to bear some watching. Let's go ahead and flip over to our correlation coefficient product. Okay, we may have, it's probably clutter. I don't want to say a possible tornado because that looks very cluttered on correlation coefficient, but the rotation would definitely be indicative of something potentially on the ground there. We have very intense velocities they're meeting. So I have to watch that closely. It's very close to the lake. So Applegate, Crossville, Lexington, if you are in this very small but very concerning area, you are in a tornado warning with a potential tornado on the ground with that. I don't want to say it's on the ground, but that velocity, we have very strong greens and very strong reds that are almost touching there. So that bears very close watching. And if we switch over to our differential reflectivity. There should be, yeah. So we may have a little something trying to form just to the north of Applegate. Not going to say it's on the ground, but it definitely catches my eye. Wait for the next scan here. This is a 319 scan. This is a basically up-to-date scan. So this is real-time happening just to the north of Applegate, heading over the lake in the next couple of minutes. Excuse me. So that bears very close watching. Good job on Detroit for catching that, because I did not catch that. Sirens are going off in Brown City. People are commenting on the page. Brown City should be, I believe it's over here. So Brown City is right here. You are just on the edge of the tornado warning. The rotation is going to be to your south and west. Looks to miss Brown City. But that storm up here near Applegate is catching my eye. I'm going to leave it right here. And I'm going to go back to read some comments really quickly. I apologize again if I'm not getting to your comments. We have a lot going on. Let's see here. Livonia, Redford, you have looking at my other radar map here so I can kind of see where you guys are looking at. Livingston County, Livonia, should I say, you have storms heading your way in the next hour or so. Severe weather is possible. Same thing for Redford. Excuse me, there's a bug flying in my face. I think it flew in my mouth. That's disgusting. Sorry, guys. Macomb County, same story. You have a severe threat tonight in the next hour or so, and potentially more coming for later. But for right now, it's in the next hour or so, pushing into the Metro Detroit area. Joe asked where I'm reporting from. No, Joe, I don't have any power issues. I'm reporting just out of Lenawee County. So I don't have any storms near me. My closest storm is going to be in about 20 miles to my north. I might be able to see out my window here, which I do see out my window. I can see the tower, the Cumulus Tower to my north. All right, let's go check some Clio. So I believe Clio. I double check. I think I know where Clio's at, but I double check on my maps just so I get this 100% right. So Clio, you are currently north of Flint, and you should be clear if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you are clear for now. Just some pop-up storms back there for you. This continues to catch my eye. The rotation is shifting almost directly over Applegate. So if you have anybody in the local area to Applegate, Crosswell, Lexington, anywhere in that box over to the lake, you should be in your safe place or texting your loved ones to get in a safe place. Excuse me. That is a stronger rotation signature there, and definitely bears watching. We may have, again, don't quote me on this. I don't want to, say we do or we don't, but we may have a tornado. Go ahead and velocity this. Yeah, that may be a tornado that is touched down just outside of Applegate. It would be radar supportive of it. Again, the couplet that I've circled is not very intense, but it definitely is an area where something may have or may be on the ground. Yeah, there's also a ZDR hole there. So we may have a potential tornado on the ground just outside of Applegate. Again, I'm not going to say confirmed, but it does appear to be radar indicated, although the reflectivity does not appear to be lining up with this. Let me go ahead and check this one more time. Okay, so it would be lining up on the, okay, yeah. So there could be a potential tornado on the ground just outside of Applegate. I see the hook now on radar. You can see this storm is a backwards U shape, and the hook would be right here. So that would fit perfectly. So again, potential tornado on the ground outside Applegate. Velocities aren't particularly touching and tight, but we do have indications between 3 or 4 different products that a tornado could be on the ground here, especially with this large bright green area and then a little bit brighter of a red area in here that are almost touching. I do want to look at one thing here. We do have a radar product in Canada. I'm not sure I have it turned on or not. I do. We'll see if this one's picking up anything. Yeah, there you go. So this Canadian radar is also picking up the rotation a little bit to the east of Applegate. So if you live in this immediate area from Port Sanilac south to Lexington, over to Croswell, up to Applegate, all the way up to Carsonville, if you are in that box I just circled, it's a very small box, but a lot of people live on the lakeshore. So if you're in that box or know people in that box, text them and get them into safety. If you are in that box, in your basement immediately, or if you don't have a basement, get to the center part of your house. If you're in a mobile home, get to the center part of your house. Your time is up. If this is on the ground, you do not have time to get out. So if you are in a house or a mobile home with no shelter, you need to get into the lowest part of your house as well as your center part of your house. Again, possible tornado on the ground near Applegate. And I'm going to go ahead and try and switch back here to the Detroit radar. Again, my radar. So I apologize if I zoom out randomly or, it's just not working for me today. All right. Now we have a little bit stronger rotational signature here near Applegate. Again, off to the east of Applegate. So again, nothing. Yeah, that might be. Go ahead and run this here. This is a 326 scan. All right, it's hard to tell because we have this opening here where this black is. This is your radar product, and the correlation coefficient should be overlaid with rain, and this is borderline. So it's hard to tell. It's probably most likely clear air, which is a signature of no tornado, but it's very hard to tell. It definitely has that structure on the storm. But again, otherwise likely that we have some significant winds as well as up to 1.75 inch hail, so golf balls. So we call that out near Carsonville, Port Sanilac. We had golf balls falling there, so not surprised to see the warning. But again, looking at the product of radar here, I would not be surprised if something is on the ground right there just to the east and a little bit now south of Applegate in this area. This is a 326 scan. I see Detroit issued or sped up their radar, so good on them. Although the only thing that doesn't line up is the reflectivity. So we'll go ahead and say radar indicated, nothing confirmed at this point, but definitely an interesting feature with very intense rotation. As we see the new scan here, definitely has my concern. We see that bright green now being the bright red. So we may have a tornado either on the ground or forming right over Applegate. We do have a new warning now. We'll go ahead and get these updated here. Let me go ahead and check out this new warning just got issued. For some reason, my phone is not sending me these alerts. There it is. So a new warning now for Port Huron and Marysville. So same exact area until 4:30. And tornado is also possible with that storm. I don't want to neglect you guys down there by Ann Arbor and Whitmore Lake and Oakland County there, but the majority of our focus right now is on a potential tornado on the ground up in the thumb of Michigan. As you can see on the radar, we have this bright green being the bright red here, so definitely have to watch this. So I do apologize if I'm not getting down to you guys. I will eventually. I do have another radar that you do not see pulled up in front of me, so we do have multiple eyes on this setup, so I'm not going to miss anything. If there is a other area of interest, I will zoom out and zoom down. We do have areas of hail falling near South Line. We do have an area of hail falling near the Bridgewater and Freedom Townships just to the southwest of Ann Arbor. Those storms are heading into Ann Arbor and also heading into the Novi area. South Line, you're probably getting a lot of rain right now and probably some good winds. Same thing in Whitmore Lake all the way down to Ann Arbor Metro. You are probably getting winds. The storm down in Hillsdale County has since weakened. So Lenawee County for right now, you are in the clear, but that may change as the afternoon goes on. So again, our focus remains on the tornado warning that is currently in the thumb of Michigan. We do have a good signature here for potential tornado on the ground. We have very strong couplet just over Applegate, just the east of Applegate for southwestern Sanilac County. This warning goes until 3:45, so 15 more minutes, and it's about to cross onto the lake here. But again, if you live in Croswell, and especially Lexington and along the lake shore between Lexington and Port Sanilac, you are under the gun for this potential tornado. It's very hard to tell if it's on the ground. I would not be surprised since the radar beam is so high up. The last scan here, that looks very nasty. That is likely, at this point, likely on the ground or about on the ground. Now, luckily, the good news is it's not over land for much longer. We'll go ahead and track this to the southeast, about 2 to 3 more miles, and it's on the lake. But in about 10 minutes or so, we'll be all clear from that. But again, very nasty signature now. We'll go ahead and track this a little bit closer. We have Applegate, which is 3.5 miles to the northwest of the rotation. If you live in Lexington, you are 5 miles away from that. And also from Croswell, you are 5.5 miles away from that. So again, if you live in Lexington or along the lakeshore between Port Sanilac up to the Applegate area along the lakeshore to Port Sanilac, you definitely need to be in your safe place. There's likely a tornado ongoing here. Again, it's going to be over water here very quickly, but as of right now, it looks very intense. See a lot of comments pouring in here. I do apologize, guys, if I can't get you all. Again, if you are in the Detroit metro area all the way down to Ann Arbor, so you're talking Taylor, Livonia, go ahead and say Wayne County, Macomb County, Livingston County, you guys still are in a severe threat. Currently, no storms behind this line. That could change, but as of right now, nothing behind this line. So again, watch for more pop-ups later on in the evening. Rain's possible. The environment today has a lot of instability. So again, still possible, but right now our focus is on this line of storms heading into southeastern Michigan. So we have storms in Washtenaw, we have storms in southern Livingston, and we have storms up in the Saginaw area. Now this storm is just intensifying even further. If we go ahead and take off the correlation coefficient product now, we may see a damaged debris ball. Again, nothing, good news is nothing. If there was a damaged debris ball, it'd be right overlaid with the best of the rotation, which does appear to be okay. Latest scan now has weakened it, but still significant. Looks like it's going to be just about 2 miles off, or should I say onshore. If we had a tornado on the ground, there'd be a yellow or blue ball over that area, and right now we don't see that. So it looked more like what's up here in a circular pattern. It looked more like that, but right now it looks like clutter to us. So again, likely tornado on the ground. The radar beam is again 3,000 to 4,000 feet above ground, so we may not see that debris or being lofted just because it may be a weaker tornado, which is a good news. But again, likely tornado on the ground if you are in Applegate toward Lexington up in Sanilac County. We do have. I do want to look at this really quick. You can tell this is kind of like a geek out moment. Look at this, the structure of this. You do not get much more classic supercell than that. You have your classic hail core highlighted there in the purple. So you always hear the thing. You always get hail before the tornado. Well, not always. Usually what happens is you have hail up here, which you do have a little bit of hail there on a northeast moving supercell. If you live, say, right here, that hail's going to hit you first, and then the tornado's going to hit you. But on a southeast moving supercell, you're going to see that tornado coming out of nowhere, and then behind that tornado, you're going to have winds and hail behind that tornado. So this tornado is likely rain-wrapped if there is one. You're not going to see it. It's dangerous. It's probably deadly as well. Again, this is a potential tornado on the ground just outside of Applegate, about to head onto the lake. Luckily, it is... Man, that's just not a good signature. You have very intense inbounds and outbounds here. We have about between 70 and 80 mile per hour inbounds, and outbounds look to be right around 20. So this is, if this is on the ground, it's probably up to 100 mile per hour winds, which would be the stronger EF1 size. Although we're not going to get into that specifically, just because pre-rating tornadoes that haven't even been confirmed yet is kind of useless. But the point being that this is a potentially stronger tornado, likely tornado on the ground here, and it looks to be crossing over the lake now. So people on the lakeshore, all along the lakeshore who live here, are getting the worst of it right now. So we'll have to see if any debris gets lofted, and if we don't see anything, it's a really good sign. But right now, the signature for this likely tornado is concerning. And this is just, you don't get much more classic. This is something you usually see out in the plains or in Mississippi or Alabama. This is not something the structure-wise that you see in Michigan very often. I have a lot of people texting me, look at the storm, look at the storm. Yeah, I see the storm. I'm watching it. So they just issued a marine warning here in Brown. So if you're on the lake, if you're watching us somehow on the lake, water spout is possible, as well as severe hail and severe wind. But this is one intense storm here. I see we have another area of a potential supercell developing down here. I go to the velocity product on that really quick and take a peek. Yeah, so we do have still a tornado warning in effect down here near Goodland. Rotation on that is much weaker, and that is going to be for central Lapeer County until 3:45. So that's about to expire here in about 9 minutes. They may extend that, they may not. I'll leave it up to NWS. Already a downstream a warning in effect for St. Clair County, and that's going to be for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Looking back down here towards Clarkston, again, we do have some good winds here happening just to the east of the radar site. Good-sized storm there, and again, down in Washtenaw and Livingston counties, we have 2 storms here, both of which look to be just hail and wind makers. They don't appear to be tornadic. This is going to be a downburst, so you have the rain hitting the ground, going outward and inward. Nothing tornadic with that storm at all. And then the storm in Hillsdale County is just a little rain shower, nothing severe or significant with that. So I have to watch that. In fact, there's nothing there anymore. So the storm in Hillsdale has vanished. So if you're in Lenawee, you are all clear for now. Monroe County, you are all clear. Although this storm may wobble a little bit into northern Monroe County, so I have to watch that. So Carlton, Flat Rock area especially in the next coming hours. But again, 3 storms now are all warned, and we have the main storm up here that is just crossing over the lake. So good news there. It no longer affects us here in Michigan, but it does affect anybody on the lake, boaters and swimmers on the beach. Going back to the velocity product and seeing us on the lake here, it's still holding on shore there. So the area of interest, here's your shoreline here highlighted in white. We do have area of rotation here, but the main area is on the lake now. So we do have the area of interest now crossing over onto the lake currently. So good news. The tornado threat for this storm, it should be over water. It should be a water spout now if there is a tornado there. Again, I have not seen reports of any tornadoes, or we had one report of a funnel cloud earlier near Cairo, a possible one near Deckerville. But again, nothing confirmed touchdown at this time. I'm looking through Twitter as well to see if anybody's tweeting at our account, because sometimes we do have people who send us in reports and pictures, making sure nothing's been sent in here, which I don't see anything. Let's go ahead and look at the product here. Facebook, I don't see anything sent in to us. So nothing has been confirmed or sent in to us at this time. Again, we had one report of a 911 call center reporting a funnel cloud, which sent the fire department out in Cairo. There was a report, I believe it was M46, just west of Kingston. Unconfirmed, have not seen pictures, so I have to kind of watch and see if that potentially touched down earlier. But as of right now, we have a potential tornado that has occurred just offshore or just onshore. We look again, we're Applegate, Croswell, Lexington area. Very, very tight area, very close to the lake up there. But the good news is the storm is now pushing onto the lake, and the tornado threat looks to be over for the inland areas. Very interesting area of rotation here. I'd say it's still holding onto that shoreline very closely. If you can kind of track that, it was right here, and that's kind of over here. So it should be over water now. So the tornado threat looks to be over for the storm, at least for the inland areas. So again, looking off to the south of this one, this area in particular, all along with that green meets red, we have a really good gust front happening. Excuse me. The gust front of the storm is probably producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. So if you're on the leading edge of these two cells in this county. I'll go ahead and pull up the county warning. I believe it's St. Clair County. Yeah, so St. Clair County until 4:30. You are indicating for a possible tornado as well as hail up to 1 inch and a max wind gust of 60 miles per hour. The possible tornado is going to come from this storm back here over Goodland. If we switch to our rotation product, we do have a broad rotation, but definitely not something to say, okay, this could produce in the next 5 to 10 minutes. As of right now, it looks like it's just spinning very slowly, so nothing concerning at this time, but the tornado warning does remain in effect for the central Lapeer County area. And that goes until 3:45, so 4 more minutes, and we'll see if they extend that. They might extend that, but I would say no unless something happens between now and 3:45. So aside from that, we do have more storms off down here near South Line all the way into the Ann Arbor metro area. For those of you who live down in Washington, Livingston counties, if you're in Lodi Township, Ann Arbor looks to be getting spared from downtown. Okay, they just expired the tornado warning for Lapeer County, so that warning you're just looking at is now expired. They may reissue that downstream if the rotation picks back up, but for right now, that has expired, the tornado warning for Lapeer County. I do want to, I wish I had the airport radar. There's an airport radar right here that would give us a little bit better look at these storms in Ann Arbor and even South Line. I'm going to go see if I can pull that up really quick. Go to my settings. See if I can't pull that up. If it'll load. I know my radar product here has been very, very slow. There it is. All right, let's go ahead and see if that works. There, and it's down. Of course it's down. That radar always goes down when you need it most. So that has been down since 3:14, so about a half hour. So unfortunately, we can't use that radar. That radar beam is closer to the ground, so it gives us a more accurate depiction on what's happening. So definitely not a good situation if you're around that radar, but luckily we do have Detroit's up and working, which is the main radar that they use. But again, it'd be nice to get that radar just on the border of Monroe and Wayne counties there to be working. They use that radar for the airport, so they get a better idea of what to expect for the planes coming in and out. So again, we have 3 cells, individual cells here, potential supercells, but right now it looks like they're not really rotating that much. We'll go ahead and switch to our rotation product one more time. We can kind of take a peek here. Although this cell looks like it's trying to curl back in, so it might be something trying to get going in the Salem Township area. We'll have to watch that closely as that kind of starts looking like a little bit of a mini hook there. We'll see if that turns into anything. That's heading into the Farmington Hills area as well as Southfield, Royal Oak, Oak Park, Redford, Livonia. We'll have to watch that cell closely as that can looks like it could be potentially strengthening. Now the Ann Arbor cell, go ahead and switch back to velocity. Again, I apologize. My radar is acting up, so it's a little laggy this afternoon. Nothing on the Ann Arbor Selene cell that would indicate rotation is possible, although I can look at the cell out my window and I don't see the base, but I do see the updraft of that storm looks to be very tall, so definitely a strong storm there. If we go to our echo tops, the storms themselves are right around 40,000 feet. We'll say right between 35 and 40,000 feet. So definitely got some good towers on these storms. So very tall storms, which usually indicates good potential for severe weather as well as hail because the updraft is a lot longer, a lot taller. We do have this storm up near Oxford, just to the south of Oxford. So Oxford, you are in the clear. I had some people ask for Oxford. You're in the clear for now. We do have some rotation with that storm. Where's that? That might be a downburst. Hold on. Let me look at this really close. That's going to be a downburst. So yeah, we have a microburst downburst ongoing to the east of Clarkston. Likely some strong winds going on there. So we'll have to watch that closely. Warning should be solidly in place there. So let's go ahead and take a wide shot and then take a peek at some comments here. Again, I do apologize if I'm not getting to all your comments. It's very busy over here. I'm getting a lot on my phone and also looking at radar in front of me. on an iPad and also here on the computer talking to you guys. So I got a lot going on. I do apologize if I'm not answering all your questions. The severe threat right now for anywhere anywhere west of US 23. So if you're west of Flint, west of listen places, Saginaw, Flint, Fenton, Heartland Township, Unidalia, Jackson, Adrian, if you're west of that, Lansing, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, you are in the clear for now. Potential severe pop-up storms are possible throughout the afternoon. The main line is now mainly in Washtenaw and Oakland counties, as well as Wayne counties now, and then up in the Thumma, Michigan for St. Clair. Those are the only counties being affected right now. But again, potential for severe weather does exist to the west as the afternoon goes on. That storm that prompted the tornado warning is now over the lake 100%. So again, good news with that. We'll have to wait and see if there's any reports of a tornado that touched down near the Port Sanilac area. And then also tracking some more storms back down to the southwest. We do have more potential storms popping up in the upper part of the Lower Peninsula. But right now, those are just cells. They don't look to be organizing. That's going to be near Standish, Beaverton, Gladwin, Buttman, West Branch, that particular area. Harrison, just some pop-up rain showers, nothing organizing yet. But as of right now, the main severe threat, there's a severe warning in effect for Washtenaw, as well as Oakland counties, and that is all we have in effect for now. All hazards are possible on these cells, especially wind and hail. But as we saw earlier, the rotation on these should not be completely discounted, as the potential for a tornado does exist. Let's take a peek here. Looking at the cells near Saline and also Northville. So I'm curious. I really wish that airport radar was up because it would give us a lot more information. I'm concerned because when we have summertime setups like this, go ahead and switch back to a wide angle here. I'll take comments here in a second, but I do want to point something out that may influence these storms. Now, especially down here in Wayne County and northern Monroe County, we have Lake Erie here. And sometimes on hot summer days, we have what we call a lake breeze that pushes inland into Monroe County, and it'll track across Lenawee into Hillsdale, parts of Jackson, and parts of Washtenaw. So my concern with that is if there is a lake breeze, which we're not going to see it on the radar unless this radar pops back up here from the airport. So unless that pops back up, we're not going to see that boundary. But the lake breeze boundary may enhance wind shear, which may enhance rotation and even damaging winds and hail with these storms. So I have to watch, in particular, these two cells, but in particular this one over Washtenaw County, as that heads into the Wayne County area. If that interacts with any potential lake breezes, that may pose a brief tornado as well as a more intense damaging wind and hail threat. So if that were to occur, it'd probably be closer to the maybe Carlton, Huron Township area and eastward toward Flat Rock, Rockwood, depending on if that continues to move southeast. But we'll have to watch that storm closely as that continues to trek east-southeast. I'll go ahead and leave this image up and switch back and take some questions from you guys that I've been missing. Again, I do apologize if I have missed your questions. Again, it's very busy and my radar is lagging. So very, very busy day for us here. I'm working solo as well. So I believe Mike is posting warnings to the page. So anybody from the MSC staff watching who's helping out behind the scenes, I appreciate you guys greatly. Go ahead and all right, take a peek at some comments here. Let's go ahead and go back here about 10 minutes. If you guys have questions that I missed, go ahead and drop them back in chat here. Hello, Julie. Rotation on the backside of the Ann Arbor storm, it's possible. It's most likely going to be hail causing downbursts. Okay, we now have a hail report coming out of Ann Arbor south, right around State Road. So just to the south of 94 there by Ellsworth Road, we have a report of quarter-size hail that's heading into the South Ypsilanti area. So, Julie, at this time, the rotation on that Ann Arbor storm looks to be weak. I don't see much in the way that bears watching. I know that's heading your way. I'll track that for you closely for you, Julie. We'll watch that close for you. I see Nick is hopping on here. Go ahead and add him to the stream.
Hello, hello.
I have to take my headphones out so I can hear him. So, Nick, if you can hear me, I cannot hear you yet.
Okay, that's fine.
There we go. I think I can hear you now.
Hello.
There you go. We got Nick on here now.
How's it going, everybody?
All right, it's going pretty good. We got 105, 120 sitting in here at one particular time. So going good. We've got a good audience today. Glad people are staying safe and staying informed. We do have a new area I'm watching of rotation, potential rotation heading into the Plymouth area. So we have to zoom in on that in a second. I'm just taking some questions really quickly. So Julie popping on from the Belleville area. I believe she's from the Belleville Sumter area, which is south of 94, south of Detroit.
All right.
Let's see here. Mandy says the website app we use for radar has a lot of stuff doesn't work when we really need it. Radar scope's usually pretty reliable. It does go down occasionally if a lot of users are using it, and occasionally we have radars go down. But for some reason, even 2 nights ago, if you're watching our stream, Nick was hosting and we had chasers out. His radar scope crashed for him and decided to update midstream. So that was nice of radar scope to do. But yeah, we've been having a lot of issues with radar scope. Usually it's not been like this. Hercules, we do have hoodies on our website. If you want to purchase one, but we can't give out our merchandise for free, we'll be losing money with that. Again, we are self-funded. We do not take any income. We do not have any other outside support other than our subscribers and people who buy our merchandise. So if you guys want to help support the cause, you can go to our Facebook main profile, and there should be a button to subscribe or sign up. We'd appreciate that. It's a small fee, and you get access to forecasts and stuff like that early, as well as exclusive content that we release only to our subscribers. So that would help us support our cause. And then also we have a merchandise store that's hosted by a store that we run called Helicity. It's helicity.co. And we should have a tab on the side there for our merchandise, Michigan Storm Chasers.
I can throw a link up in the chat.
Yeah, Nick will throw a link up in the chat if you guys want to go check that out. But yeah, we are 100% self-funded. If you guys want to purchase any merchandise, we do have a store. I mean, if you want to support us, we do have Patreon as well as our Facebook subscription services.
In the store, there is a 15% off sale right now on your entire order.
Yeah, so through the weekend, we do have a 15% offer if you use code SUMMER at checkout. So if you guys want some discount products, now is the time to grab some.
Drop that in there as quick as I can.
All right, so Nick will drop that in chat. We have some more questions. Pontiac Super Dark. So Pontiac, you should be, go ahead and double check that really quick. I believe you're west of the storms, aren't you? Of course, when I try and find the areas I want to try and find, I can't find them. I hate when that happens. I know where Pontiac. I've been to Pontiac so many times, I just can't find it on my radar here. All right, let's go ahead and use the radar scope product here. I know you're up here just north of Detroit. There you are, Pontiac. So yeah, Pontiac, you are in the clear right now. You can't tell where Pontiac's at. It's right here in the middle of the screen. You have a storm to your north and a storm to your south. The storm of rotation now picking up to the south of Northville, heading into the Livonia and Redford areas. Yeah, there you go. That may need a tornado warning on it. So Plymouth, Livonia, Westland, Garden City, Dearborn Heights, you are in the path of a potential tornadic storm. So I have to watch that very closely. The storm down by Ann Arbor, for those of you wondering, is not rotating. That is mainly downburst winds. We'll have to watch to see that gets sucked back in and becomes a rotating storm. But right now, the main rotation is over just to the west of Plymouth Township, heading into the Westland and Livonia areas. So if you live on Ford Road, it'll be just to your north. I'm familiar with this area, so I can actually call this out. So right along Ford Road, you are in the direct line of this storm. It's going to be between Plymouth Township and Canton Township, heading into the Westland, Livonia areas. So 23 running through here. Or sorry, no, that's 20. That's 75. Sorry, 75 running through there, as well as Ford Road. Definitely interesting there. Kind of hooking around there.
Ryan, you keep glitching out.
Definitely has some strength thing. Now, usually when we look at debris product, we
Ryan, you're cutting in and out really bad. You there, Ryan?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're glitching out pretty bad.
Sorry. So again, we do have a rotating township, Canton Township, as well as Westland, the Livonia, Redford area. So if you guys are in the path of that, that's going to be Wayne County, North Wayne County. You're going to be under the gun there. So definitely be prepared for some heavy wind, hail, and potential for tornado. Detroit has now expired the warning for Oakland County. So this storm up here is now expired. So they're going to drop the warning on this cell just south. Looks like, yeah, all this velocity has decreased. And as that storm that we were watching earlier is still up on the lake, that is completely over the lake, heading into Ontario, the southern flank of that storm.
Hey,
We have
Ryan.
more pop-ups popping up behind this area, and looks like the wind. Yeah. Yeah.
How many tabs you got open on your computer? You might need to close some.
I have one.
Okay, yeah, you're cutting in and out a lot.
Okay, let me try something real quick. Is that any better?
Yeah, it just goes in and out.
I do apologize, guys. I'm just having some connection issues here. I switched all of my third-party applications over to data, not on Wi-Fi, so I should be 100% on Wi-Fi now.
There we go.
Better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay. So for right now, we are tracking an area of rotation.
Of course, as I say that.
That is near Redford, just to the west of Redford Township. Definitely continues to increase. What?
It's still doing it.
Interesting. All right. I'm going to go ahead and restart and see what happens.
Okay. You going to restart the broadcast or? Okay, I guess I'm still on here. All right, what was he saying? Hello.
Test.
It's still doing it.
Test 1, 2.
It's a little bit better.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good now.
I'm not sure what's going on with my Wi-Fi, but I do apologize for technical difficulties. So an area of rotation now still taking shape over the Plymouth area, which is just south of Novi, heading east toward Livonia and Redford. If it turns to the right, it'll go toward. Oh, all right. That is an interesting signature. Now I'll go ahead and pop this on really quickly. All right, luckily that's a clear air there, but that almost looked like a potential area for a tornado on the ground, but currently none, as that was just clean air. So we do have this area now that looks like it's trying to wrap back up. So the rotation looks to be cycling. We'll see if that weakens or continues to strengthen. And that is in Plymouth. Zoom out here. There we go. All warnings have been dropped except for Washtenaw County or Ann Arbor, and as well as the winds are your biggest threat up here for straight line winds along the leading edge of this line. We do have a continuing severe thunderstorm warning now for St. Clair County. Detroit just updated that for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. Am I still good, Nick?
It's just doing it every once in a while. I can hear most of what you're saying, so I can make it out.
Okay. So the leading edge of this line I just went ahead and drew up here in St. Clair County. You can see we have an outflow boundary now. So along that outflow boundary on the edge of the storm, Tappan, Kimball, Almont, Memphis, Columbus, Marysville, Corona, Sarnia as well in Canada for people watching from those areas, as well as Port Edward. You have some stronger winds heading your way. We do have a report now out of Applegate where that potential tornado came through. It says train spotter reports wind damage of trees and power lines blown over, hail damage and shredded crops. Size of hail is unknown. So we do have a report now of damage coming out from that potential area of tornadic interest. It could have been wind, definitely could have been wind, but it looks to align very, very well with a potential tornado. The couplet was very strong. And now I have another issue.
That is very loud. What on earth was that? All right, well, he's got that going on.
I'm good now.
What was that?
That is the weather alert radio with a new warning that just got issued for Wayne County, the storm we were talking about.
Okay.
So it's going to, your threats are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as a tornado possible. Down here, the weaker part, can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah.
Nick?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, making sure you can still hear me.
Yep, you're good.
The area of interest, okay, must be delayed or something, but the area of interest is up by Ford Road heading into the Garden City area, Livonia, Plymouth Township, Canton Township, and just north of Wayne and Inkster along US 12 there. We also have a secondary area that could potentially try to spin up a tornado down here in York Charter Township, although that's a lot weaker than what we're seeing up there in Plymouth Township. I'm going to go ahead and check the radar. Is it up? It is up. So now we have this radar, which is going to help us greatly with these storms. Zoom in on velocity. And as of right now, the storm that is over York Charter Township heading into the Belleville area, Julie, if you're watching this, that is all straight line winds for right now. Your winds are going to be right along this forward flank heading into Sumter Township. So again, no imminent tornado threat with that southern storm. So as of, this is 4:03, so 1 minute ago, and up here, we do have an area of potential interest that is going to take shape right along here of Livonia down to Westland. That is the area of interest for a potential tornado. This is a severe thunderstorm warning now. So along this back edge there, you can see the inflow of this storm right here with a little hook coming around. So it's going to be just to the of Westland and then due east of Livonia. If you are in Livonia, if you are anywhere in Redford, Livonia, Westland, Dearborn Heights, go ahead and call out Inkster and Dearborn. I would suggest getting into your safe place as the storm heads into the Detroit metro area. If it continues eastward, it'll impact Detroit as well as Melvindale, Lincoln Park, potentially as far south as Taylor, right along US 12 there, and right along the 94 corridor as far south. So again, if you are in the Livonia area, you are in the immediate threat for this potential area of interest. So looking at our velocity here, very good threat down here, pushing toward, it's actually kind of pushing toward the southern edge. So Sumter Township down here, Carlton, maybe perhaps in Monroe County. Definitely watch out for the storm as it continues to move to the east-southeast. Looking at some comments here, I do apologize for not taking comments. Looking for some areas here. Again, a very, very isolated threat today. Looks like we had some damage reports up in the Thumb. I have not heard of anything down here in the Detroit metro area. So really good news with that. But we do continue to have one warning now for the entirety of Wayne County, as well as one is in effect for St. Clair County. Well, the one out in St. Clair County now has an outflow push. So the tornado threat with that storm looks to be over. It looks to be a gusty wind threat up there in St. Clair County. But we do have the area of interest now down here in the northern and southern part of Wayne County. If you look on the mini supercellular hooks to them, so we'll have to watch these very closely. Again, if you're in Detroit Metro or if you're in the Carlton area, Sumter Township, just go ahead and hunker down inside. The southern cell looks to have a little bit of rotation on it, mainly going to be a downburst wind threat, but definitely bears watching as it continues. We just talked about this as well. As this gets closer to Lake Erie, we could have lake breeze influence on this storm, which could increase some rotation. Well, this is why we love having the other radar here, because if we look at this radar, it's just going to be a little bit of wind with this storm, and it's not going to be, it doesn't look to be that significant. So again, this radar compared to Detroit, if we go ahead and track this, this is literally not even 100 feet off the ground. So this is what's happening on the surface. And as of right now, there is no tornado threat at the time with the southern cell between Belleville and Sumter Township. We have a new warning now for Macomb and Oakland counties until 5 p.m. Those going to be for 1-inch hail as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we have Macomb and Oakland now, and a warning. It's probably going to be for this these two storms. So they dropped this original warning, and it looks like it's re-intensified. So it's probably going to be something that looks like this. No tornado possible tag on that cell. Definitely some good downburst winds there. You can see the green going towards and the red going away from the radar. So it's not rotation. That's actually a indication of a microburst or a downburst. So again, no tornadic threat on the Oakland County, Macomb County storm. That's just going to be a wind threat at this time. So the storm up in St. Clair County again has been, there's the warning about what we expect it to be. So that popped up. That's going to be until 5 p.m. and that's going to be Warren 415, Sterling Heights 420, Clinton 425. This is Clinton Township, not Clinton in Lenawee County. For those watching, this is Clinton up in Macomb County. Macomb Township around 430, Mount Clemens 435, and St. Clair Shores at 445. Your threats are again 1-inch hail and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And again, the storms up in St. Clair counties have an outflow boundary, which means that these storms are likely to severe for hail or tornadoes. It's just going to be a wind threat. Looking behind that, we do have more development of storms, which is possible throughout the evening, afternoon, as more cells continue to pop up in the upper part of Michigan. For those watching, up in the northern central parts of the lower east southeast, but nothing severe at this time, and maybe some small hail on a few of these cells near Beaverton. That's about all we're seeing up there. We do have a chance for more development to happen in Kalamazoo. Potential for more pop-ups as the afternoon goes on, but right now the severe threat is localized to the Detroit metro area. So switching back over to the radar, taking that off, getting some locations on the screen, switching to velocity, take a peek at the Livonia storm. Nothing tight at this time, nothing that indicates tornado imminent. Again, same thing down here in the Augusta and Sumter Township areas. Again, nothing significant at this time. We'll go back to our airport radar. We do have a downburst indication with that storm. Let me make sure it's a 1 second. So red is moving away from the radar and green is moving toward the radar. So this is a downburst ongoing here. So very, very intense winds now heading into Sumter Township. Very localized as well.
Yeah, you're cutting out again, Ryan.
Dang it.
I'm not sure if it's because you're running radar or not. I hope it's not because you're running radar.
I think it's just my Wi-Fi today.
Busy Wi-Fi day, I guess.
How about now?
I mean, it's just when you're talking for a while.
Okay. So again, a downburst, microburst threat on the Sumter Township cell. No tornado threat imminent at this time, although it does bear some watching as some broad rotation has been reported. Sumter Township, you are probably getting some hail. I don't know if Julie's still on here or not, but if you are, Julie, you're probably getting some good size hail, or at least close to your location.
Hey, Ryan, can you do me a favor real quick?
Yeah.
Can you go into the settings on your radar scope
What's
and
up?
turn the text? Go into the settings on your radar scope and then turn and up the font on the text so that people can see the cities better. Yeah, just crank it all the way up. There we go. Now people can see that clear.
Go.
That'll help. We got Mandy
Cool.
asking how we get those severe alert texts.
All right. So if you guys can still hear me.
Yep.
We do have this. What?
Yes, we can hear you.
Asking. Okay, cool. It's delayed, dude. You're about 10, 15 seconds behind me, so I'm probably lagging here.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a delayed response. That wasn't just a delay.
All right, so we do have a report now coming out of Whitaker of $half size hail. So Whitaker is just going to be south of Ypsilanti, particular area. So we do have a report of hail up to $half size. So if you're in Sumter Township, if you are in Carlton, if you are in north of maybe here in Monroe County, anywhere in particular south and east of this cell, we do have a very large hail core. As indicated, this is directly over the radar. I would not be surprised if this radar goes down because of this. That's a pretty good size hail falling. Also in Sumter Township as well. We do have more development off to the east of that. You know that we are having some indications of rotation on that. Let's go ahead and take a peek there at the velocity and take a look. We don't have anything there. So the tornado threat for Livonia, Redford area, and also Warren area, those are completely looks like it's weakened significantly. So good news sign. However, we do have one very good sized storm down here by the Monroe County, Wayne County area. Again, this is going to be over Sumter Township, Augusta Charter Township, heading toward the Carlton, North Maybe area, and eventually heading into the Berlin Township, Rockwood, Flat Rock area. This is going to be just off to my house. I probably look out my window and look at the storm, but we'll go ahead and just stay here, hunker down here inside. Sumter Township, Julie, you should be getting rain at the very least right now with some good wind. Trying to see here. 1.5 inch hail in Rochester is being reported apparently.
Yeah, they got a pretty
Yeah,
intense hail core there.
I just got a report from Oakland County from Rochester stating quarters. I'm looking at all of the reports coming in my phone here. I do have reports, like we said, on 1 and $half size hail falling in Whitaker, which is the storm that we're on radar here. Flooding in Cass City, Tuscola County. Do have another flooding report. Roadways are flooded. Defford, wind damage, Tuscola County. Trees are down. Tree damage, Tuscola County. Looks like Tuscola County got hit really hard. Lapeer County, golf ball size hail. These are all reports that have been confirmed via train spotters. This is not ongoing. This is just reports that we've had. Julie is reporting live from the Sumter Township, Belleville area, saying rain and wind picking up. Also consistent thunder. So that's would be in line with what we're seeing here, Julie.
Yeah, Rochester's got a pretty intense hail core right now. I don't know if you wanted to go look up at it.
Yeah, give me 1 second, too.
There's a pretty significant CC drop on that hail core.
All right, let me go ahead and zoom up here to Rochester real quick. Take one last peek at velocity on this storm before we do that. Just make sure we're not going to miss anything. Yeah, so pretty intense winds there, right just south of Sumter Township. Let's go ahead and take a peek at Rochester. As Nick was saying, we do have reports of hail coming in from Rochester of 1 to 1.5 inch size hail. Let's go ahead and switch over to the regular radar. There we go.
Yeah, the vertically integrated liquid is showing 64.7 kilograms per meter squared.
Still? There we go. Yeah, so right here, guys, in this particular area, Washington Township, just north of Rochester, this is indicating very large hail falling, pushing into the Macomb Township area. So if you're anywhere east of this particular area, south and east, toward Chesterfield Township, Harrison, Sterling Heights, Utica, anywhere in between, you guys need to be inside. Good size hail falling with the storm. There's been reports of 1 inch to 1.5 inch size hail, so quarter to $half size hail is being reported and confirmed by train spotters on the storm. We do have more reports coming in from Ann Arbor saying wind gusts of 51 measured by ASOS, which is a mounted anemometer measuring wind. Another warning has been continued for Washtenaw and Wayne, hail of 1 inch and 60 mile per hour winds. That was just issued and continued about a minute ago. So yeah, as Nick was pointing out here, a good sized hail core in Rochester, probably some flanks of these storms as the hail and rain fall very quickly and produce outflow winds called microbursts. We can kind of see the radar going towards and again away. So we have very intense winds there along the leading edge and flanking line of the storm. So the back part and the very front part of the storm do have really good winds. And also as far as hail goes, we'll go ahead and throw the CC back up. There's your hail core just to the north of Rochester, probably a little bit over here in Washington Township as well. Good size hail falling. Go ahead and switch over to the VIL, which is a vertically integrated liquid. Shows us the raindrops and hail size, and yeah, it looks pretty good size there. So that storm will continue east-southeast. Like I said, Chesterfield Township, Harrison, Utica, and we'll go ahead and track that. It's about 14 miles from going on to the lake. So good news is it's almost off land, and the bad news is it's producing very large hail. Well, Livonia storm looks like it's trying to get a hook back to it, although it doesn't really impress me too much right now. Let's go ahead and take a peek at that really quick. Yeah, just again some downdrafts there. Same thing down here in southern Wayne County. We do have this storm directly over the airport radar, so it's going to look a little discolored there as it comes through the radar. It's very low to the ground there, not even 100 feet off the ground, so that's what's falling at the surface. So just some really, really intense winds there. If we go ahead and correlate the winds, we're talking probably close to 50 or 60-mile-per-hour winds happening right there on the surface, and that's going to be just to the south of the radar. There's Sumter Township. Go ahead and track that to the south. It's just about 2.5 miles south of Sumter Township, heading to the south-southeast toward Carlton. If the tracks continue toward Carlton, it'll be there in about 25 minutes. That's about 6.5 miles away, moving about 30 miles per hour. So some good size hail, some good gusty winds forming on these storms. Nothing tornadic at this time. And the majority of the storms are now moving onto the lake or moving onto the lake very shortly. So again, these are the only cells that we have in the immediate area that we're concerned about for severe weather. So everything else could happen later on this afternoon and evening. But right now we just have these particular storms we're watching close. Go ahead and check back on Facebook here and Twitter. Make sure we're not getting anything sent into us. We do appreciate everybody on here who stays informed and keeps themselves and their families safe. This storm in particular has a supercell look to it with that little. And there we go again.
While he mutes himself for that warning.
You're still with
Welcome
us
back.
here. Yeah, that was again, that is a new warning now issued for Monroe County. I do have that alert set for the counties around me. That's why it's going off so much. Julie says her Wi-Fi went out. So yeah, guys, another plug here. If you guys do not have a weather radio, what you're hearing in the background every few minutes is my weather radio going off, alerting me for severe warnings. And it's issued pretty much immediately. In fact, that one went off before I even got the notification on my phone. We do have now a video sent in from TC Vortex, another page here who monitors severe weather in southeast Michigan. They have a video in western Lapeer County over an hour ago. The local viewers actually captured it. Name was Melissa P. via TC Vortex. A brief funnel cloud with some rotation on it. It looks like one of those Michigan bird farts for sure, but definitely may have been close to touching down, if not briefly, on the ground there in western Lapeer County. Again, that was on Twitter. We'll go ahead and retweet that for those of you on Twitter. You guys want to go ahead and look at that. Unfortunately, we can't share it to our page. We could if we got permission, but it's not ours, so we're not going to share that to our Facebook, but it will be retweeted on Twitter for those of you who want to go check that out. Train spotter reports rain of 2.9 inches in Tuscola County. Yeah, a lot of heavy rain there as well. So going back to the new warning now from Monroe County, it's been issued. We have really intense winds coming out now off of this storm in Sumter Township, now heading into the maybe Carlton, Berlin Township. The warning extends all the way down into Monroe proper, all the way down into, looks like closer to LaSalle and maybe Luna Pier, just north of Luna Pier there. Woodland Beach, Detroit Beach, again, you're included in this warning. The warning itself is for observed hail of 1.25 inches, which is just around $half size, as well as wind gusts up to 60. So northern Monroe County, you are under the gun for this particular storm. Again, looks pretty healthy here as it continues off to the east-southeast. Probably the strongest storm that we have in the state right now. Going back up to the radar and making sure we're not missing anything up here. The Rochester storm appears to be rotation. There's no rotation with that. Again, no indication of a downburst either. And the hail looks to be subsided for the most part here. Go ahead and switch over to the VIL really quickly and see what the VIL shows. This VIL is also 10 minutes old, so I'm not going to use that as ground truth because the storm is actually further east than that. So that's an outdated product. Go ahead and switch back over here to what we're seeing on velocity. And yet again, we have issues with the radar.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's your
There we
Wi-Fi,
go.
Ryan.
This area is concerning me as well. Near Inkster, we have a little bit of a hook there. Probably is my Wi-Fi. If I restart, the stream stops. It's frustrating. I do apologize, guys, if my feed keeps cutting in and out. It's my Wi-Fi. Just bear with us here as we continue to track these. These are almost out of the state onto Ontario and onto the lakes. So again, stay with us here until we get this figured out. We do have a new warning. Actually, that's not a new warning. That is Canada has now issued a warning that we're in Ontario. But the storm that we're watching closely right now is over here in northern Monroe County. It dips
Ryan,
south.
I might have you restart.
Probably a nice shelf cloud on that too. Really good outflow winds here. We have pockets of this area here. We have downbursts here and also here. What?
I might have you restart or have me have radar on the stream.
Go ahead and pull up your radar then. You want to do that really quick?
Yeah, I got it.
We're going to go ahead and try to remove. There we go. So I'll go ahead and comment if you want me to, Nick, unless you want to comment.
Are you able to see the radar on my screen?
Yeah, I can see the radar there on your screen as well.
Just tell me what I need to do, what you want to look at.
I'm going to focus right now. I'm looking on my phone at the radar here as well. The only storm really catching my eye for severe weather is that Monroe County storm. Everything else looks to be either just heavy rain, maybe some small hail threat. The only storm I really see that bears watching right now is going to be the Carlton storm, which is what we're on there. And as you can see, the brighter reds, if you want to take the radar off so you can get locations, there you go, heading into the Carlton area. So if you're in Carlton, anywhere to the south of that, Bruin Township, north maybe, anywhere close to the North Monroe area, you should be inside and in particular in your lowest part or center part of your house away from windows. We have really good winds there.
Yes.
Indicating that we have close to 60, maybe even 70 mile per hour in spots. In fact, that one area looks to be close to 80 mile per hour winds. That's right on the surface. So the beam height of that is literally not even 100 feet off the ground. And we're getting my radar here picking up 76.2 miles per hour on that cell there. I think Nick is trying to slice into it there. That's not even 100 feet off the ground. So very intense winds there. I might end up going out and doing some damage survey if there's any reports, but the next scan just completely broadened that out and now spread it out as well. So now we have close to 60, 70 mile per hour winds directly west northwest of Carlton, around 2 to 3 miles west northwest of Carlton. We have winds now approaching 70 miles per hour. So Monroe County, you are probably going to lose power in spots as that storm continues to move to the east northeast. Carlton, if you are in Carlton, it's time to get into your safe spot. Time to get into your inside your house. Nothing tornadic at this time, but these winds will rip pretty hard, close to 70 miles per hour. So looking at some comments here, Christine. All right, Christine, this storm is heading your way. It's about 45 minutes to an hour out from hitting your area, so it has time to strengthen and or weaken. So hopefully it continues to weaken as it moves towards you. But Christine, living right there on Lake Erie, near the Monroe area, you're in the path of this storm, Christine. We're on to the alarm was for Monroe County. I have my my weather radio set for Lenawee, Monroe, Wayne, Washtenaw, Hillsdale, and Jackson. So anything gets issued around me, I will know.
Ryan, you want
north of Temperance? So Temperance is what?
Sorry, it still shows on StreamYard that you got your radar shared. If you want to just quit presenting that, that might help. There we go. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Anything to try and get this, get my feed a little bit more clear. I don't know what's going on with it, but I do apologize for coming.
It's been doing better.
Okay, good. Dundee is not the path of this, Jasmine. It's going to be off to the east toward Lake Erie. Although Dundee may be in the threat for a little bit later on. Right now, we have nothing developing out in the western part of the state, so that's really good news. Although it's possible that we could have more development off toward the Grand Rapids, Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo areas that may push our way. But right now, it's just what's in the far eastern part of the state. I'm looking at my radar here. Definitely some really still intense winds by Carlton. If you are in Carlton, you're probably going to lose power. If I'm being quite honest, these winds are probably going to take down power poles, trees. They may blow some shingles off some houses as well. So if you are in or near Carlton, the strongest winds now extending all the way from Carlton to Maybe. So it's getting to be a wider swath heading toward the Woodland Beach, Monroe, Berlin Township, Estrel Beach area. You guys need to be inside and taking safety precautions with this storm. I will probably be doing damage survey after this storm goes on Lake Erie, because there's got to be some type of damage after this type of signature. Definitely a very intense wind velocity here. So there's likely to be damage. Elsewhere, looking at the northern storms, if you want to zoom up or change your radar to Detroit first, and then we'll take a peek at some other storms here. The one up here, going to start at the top here, up by Emmett. So again, nothing severe up there. Looking at velocity and storm relative velocity, just some gusty winds. Nothing that indicates tornadoes or anything severe at this time. Not even hail showing up on our radar. And we head down a little bit further south toward the Macomb Township area. That is in a severe thunderstorm warning until 5 o'clock. That's going to be for 1-inch hail, which has been observed, as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that's going to be heading into the Clinton Township, Chesterfield area, as well as New Haven, Fraser, Harrison. And then it may hit St. Clair Shores, but I think it'll go north of St. Clair Shores. Going further south to that, we have a storm now over Detroit, Dearborn area that does have a little bit of rotation with it. It does have a little bit of a hook. But again, nothing there to indicate nothing significant that could indicate tornado on the ground or anything like that. So that's what we got going on right now. The main storm that we're focusing on right now is in Carlton and over toward Maybe. That's really quite intense, and it's actually formed an outflow boundary now. The lake breeze boundary is now interacting with this storm, which is why this wind. Now, if you remember talking earlier, we mentioned the lake breeze boundary close to Monroe, Wayne, and Washtenaw counties may enhance some of these storms, and that appears to be the case with this particular storm, because as soon as this hopped onto the lake boundary, it blew its velocity up and became very strong. So the lake breeze looks to be influencing the storm 110% as predicted. So if you are anywhere in this general area from Carlton, Berlin Township, Estrel Beach, Woodland Beach, Detroit Beach, be in your safe spot. And we do have one of our loyal followers, Michael LeBeau. I see his spotter dot is in the path of this storm. If he gets anything, I don't know if he's watching us, if he could send us a picture. If he is, I want to send a message and see if he's got anything. He's right in front of this, right in front of the storm here. Go ahead and send him a message really quick and see if he's got anything. But yeah, so again, pretty intense winds ongoing around Carlton all the way down to Maybe, pushing east-southeast toward the Monroe area. In particular, looking more like Estrel Beach down to Detroit Beach. So definitely wanting to get into your house, into your center part of your house, away from windows. The storm looks to be packing right around 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. AI brand, we just explained the lake breeze boundary is what has caused the storm to become strengthened. So what happens in summertime is a lake breeze pushes in off Lake Erie. It'll reach usually right around US 23. Sometimes it'll continue into Lenawee County toward the Adrian, and occasionally reaching the Hillsdale area into the Jackson, Washtenaw counties. But when that lake breeze pushes inland, it can enhance lift, enhance wind shear to get storms up, and also spinning or increasing in its strength, which is what appears to have happened with this cell. Luckily, it does not appear to be tornadic. I don't think this is going to be a tornadic storm. It just looks like it's been enhanced with lift, causing some increased velocities here. Julie says she's going to venture out and find damage. So yeah, Julie, if you're going to venture out, you're pretty much safe on the backside of that storm to do so. Just probably some lightning threat there. I would drive to your south, honestly, more toward the Carlton area and see what's going on down there. Again, we don't ask you to do that. If you're going to, that's just the area I'd go to. So we had one possible touchdown tornado up in Lapeer County earlier. Unconfirmed, the video on Twitter shows a funnel cloud rotating that appears to be at least 3/4 of the way to the ground. You can't tell if it's on the ground because of the trees, but that's the only report today that we had of potential tornado. We did have a funnel cloud report earlier in Tuscola County near Kingston and Caro. That's been unconfirmed. Yes, that Monroe County storm has become the dominant storm. Rachel says we have dime-sized hail in Lapeer City. Christine asking about Stony Point. Yeah, Stony Point is in the path of this. Looks like the velocity on the storm is weakening slightly, which is good news for you, Christine, but still packing severe winds in spots for sure. Especially if we're going to be specific, it's going to be about 3 miles south of Carlton. That looks like it's almost moving.
It's moving southeast.
Almost like it's almost due south at this point, just a little bit east. So Detroit Beach, between Monroe and Detroit Beach, looks to be the brunt of this. Detroit Beach especially. If you guys remember back a few weeks ago, the Woodland Detroit Beach got hit by an EF1, or was it EF0? I think it was EF1 tornado, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's an area that's about to get hit hard again, it looks like. So not a good situation for that neighborhood on Detroit Beach, Woodland Beach. Yeah, Stony Point as of this moment, excuse me, is on the north side of the greater wind velocities. But being that this is continuing to push east-southeast, areas and pockets of stronger wind velocities can pop up along this. But right now, as of this moment, talking at 4:38, the strongest velocity is going to be just south of Carlton, moving more toward the Detroit Beach and Monroe towns. So again, if you are anywhere else in the state of Michigan, aside from the far eastern counties along the Canadian border and the lakes, you are out of the severe threat for now. Again, isolated storms can continue to pop up through the afternoon. While unlikely to be severe, it's possible that they could become severe. The only other areas with weather right now is up in the Saginaw, North Saginaw area, which is by Billings and Buttman, Gladwin, West Branch, those areas. Nothing severe up there. We're talking way up by northern Michigan, Nick, if you're trying to find that. But we're talking just rain and hail up there. Nothing severe is expected, although you do remain in a marginal risk for severe weather. So an isolated severe storm is possible, but it's just looking unlikely at this point. Grand Rapids, NWS just tweeted to expect numerous showers and storms tonight and Saturday with additional chances of showers and storms through Monday. So that is an accurate tweet. We do expect some more storms tonight as well. Unsure how the severe threat will evolve. I know some models have thrown out a potential complex impacting southwest Michigan. This time, though, we may have to make another post about it, but right now we're just kind of focusing on the current weather. Looking at the model now, it looks like we need to make another forecast for southwest Michigan to the Kalamazoo area, your house area, Nick. We do have the model bringing in at least some good-sized hail pushing along the I-94 corridor, maybe as far north as Grand Rapids. So
I-94 or
I-94? 94. It looks like it starts off just south of Grand Rapids, just to south of you, Nick.
Okay.
Chandler and Alex will be more in the path of that, and then pushing and weakening as it moves eastward along 94 corridor. Some good ingredients still in shape there as well, so that might be a severe threat. It'd be after 10 p.m. according to this model tonight. So we'll put another post out and look at some data here if it warrants. So if you live in Southwest Michigan watching, we'll have a post out for you. Even the HRRR actually is more intense than the NAM3. So we'll bet we're probably looking at a secondary severe threat later tonight along the 96 corridor. The HRRR brings it north towards you, Nick. So interesting to note. I don't know if you can hop on the COD site and look at that once we're done here. Not right now. Once we're done, we can look at it for those interested.
I can grab my laptop real quick and look at it while you're talking.
Yeah, if you want to do that, go for it. But we do have models now picking up on a secondary severe threat tonight. After midnight, this model says 1 a.m. it comes on shore in Berrien and St. Joseph counties, or not St. Joseph, Berrien and what is that county above it? Van Buren, I want to say. So yeah, looking at the cell currently in Monroe County, though, for those of you still watching in Monroe, we do have a really intense supercell thunderstorm heading into the Detroit Beach area, Woodland Beach area. Looking at Stony Point here, looking for you, Christine. Looks like it's going to hit you just to the south. It'll probably brush you, so you may get some more gusty, intense, more, what's the word I'm looking for? It'll probably be gustier than usual, but the severe weather may actually miss you to the south. I got to see if Michael sent us anything. I know he just intercepted that. I got a live report from him. All right, I just texted him. So Michael is one of our loyal followers who lives in the Monroe and Wayne County areas. So he is intercepted the storm as it continues moving to the east-southeast. I'm in Woodland, sirens going off in Carlton, power outages there. Yeah, I'll probably head toward the Carlton area, Tara, here, once we're done streaming here. We're about to probably hop off here in the next hour or so, just because the severe threat appears to be over after this line moves on to the Canadian side of things, onto the lakes and stuff like that. Andrea says sun is out in Waltz. Yes, I've always had sun here. I'm just to your west here. So yeah, sun is out and reheating the surface, so instability will increase for, again, a possible severe threat tonight. But that looks to be confined mainly to the southwestern part of the state, maybe as far east as the I-69 corridor by Coldwater, Jackson areas maybe. But we'll see. We'll put another forecast out.
Yeah, Ron, I'm seeing that on the HRRR.
Okay, cool. All right, Detroit has acknowledged that we have a potential touchdown earlier in western Lapeer County. They may be sending a crew out.
Ryan, if you can, go ahead and check the Goon chat.
Okay.
There's a pretty good video on there.
I think that's the video that I'm looking at too, that Detroit just mentioned.
The TC Vorticity one?
Yeah, TC Vortex. Yeah, TC Vortex is they are another chasing page here in Michigan. They shared it. One of their followers sent it into them. So,
okay.
Detroit NWS has acknowledged that they posted that. So we'll see if they send the survey crew out. Michael has let us know that he's getting pea-sized hail. He sent us a video, actually. He sent me a video. Heavy rain, winds picking up big time, pea-sized hail. Let's see if we'll go and watch it here. Looks to be pretty much a gusty wind threat with some small hail there. I'm not sure where he's sitting, but he's pretty much on the leading edge of that storm. So, yeah, it looks to be about, definitely 40 to 50 mile per hour winds in that. So, Mandy, that page is on Twitter. It's TC Vortex, and then you can also check our Twitter. We went ahead and shared that on our Twitter feed. Unfortunately, we can't do so on Facebook right now. But as of right now, it's on our Twitter. So if you want to go see that video, it's on our Twitter at MI Storm Chasers is our handle. Ryan and Battle Creek, you currently have nothing coming, but later tonight, the potential severe threat, it looks to be mainly a wind threat. I have not dug into the models. This is just kind of like an evolving thing, which we expected to kind of happen. If you read our forecast last night, we highlighted Southwest Michigan in particular for a potential second round later on, and it looks to be coming true. So we will have another forecast. In fact, what we probably will do here is once this storm that's in Monroe County comes onto Lake Erie and crosses over, we will probably stop this stream and we may start a new one, depending on how many people we have in here still, and go over the potential threat for tonight. But for right now, it appears to be after midnight for Southwest Michigan, potentially as far east as 69, maybe a little further east, depending on instability, if it recovers. But yeah, we have a secondary severe threat tonight in Southwest Michigan at least. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for St. Clair County for 1-inch hail. That has been radar indicated, as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds. So if you want to head up that way. Taking one last look here on my radar, I know that Nick's already up there in that Lapeer area, or St. Clair area, should I say. I'm still looking at Monroe here really quickly. And yeah, Christine, you're about 5 minutes away from impact there at Stony Point. For people who live in beach watching Detroit Beach, I have a couple people bring that up to my attention. That's about to impact you guys here in the next 5 minutes. So gusty winds for sure, possibly severe there. Although radar looks to be right around 40 to 50. And then there's an area just to the north of Woodland Beach that says right around 60. So, all right, back up to the north for the, was it St. Clair or was it Lapeer?
St. Clair.
St. Clair counties. That's going to be Port Huron by 450, Emmett by 505, Marysville, Memphis 540, Richmond 545. Your threats are hail up to 1 inch and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And looking at our reflectivity on the left side of your screen there, got a pretty small but pretty sizable, pretty small but impactful hail core just to the north of Capic. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I do apologize if you're from the area and I'm mispronouncing it, but near Capic or Capac, heading toward Brockway and Emmett areas. So training over the same areas. I'm not be surprised to get some more flooding on this side of things, but no rotation, no tornado threat on any of these storms currently at the moment. We appreciate Michael for sending that video in. Shout out to Michael LeBeau. He sent us the video in Monroe County. Looks to be right around 45 to 50-mile-per-hour winds, and he's taking, at the very least, pea-size hail. For people in Monroe County, it looks to be impacting Detroit Beach now, Stony Point about 5 minutes, Estrel Beach 5 minutes. The bulk of this wind is going to be over Berlin Township, right along I-75 there, right along Telegraph Avenue. That's tracking to the east-southeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour.
We just got I see a spotter report of wind 50 miles an hour.
Where's that from?
Berlin Township, Detroit Beach.
Okay, so we have 50 mile per hour confirmed winds now near the Detroit Beach, Berlin Township area, which would align perfectly with the radar we're currently seeing. I see TC Vortex is in chat. Shout out to you guys for getting a hold of that video of the potential funnel tornado up there in Lapeer County. Shout out to TC Vortex. They are also another chasing page here in Michigan. Give them a follow if you haven't already. Andrea says K-Pac, or is it K-Pac? That could still be two ways. I'm going to say K-Pac. Brent says solid downpour in Port Huron up by the lake up in the Thumb. So that's going to be no hail or winds. Yeah. So up there looks to be mainly just rain and some gusty winds up there. Nothing too significant at this time. If you guys haven't already, give this stream a thumbs up. That helps us out with the algorithms of Facebook. We'd appreciate if you haven't already, give this stream a huge thumbs up or a heart or some type of reaction. That helps us out significantly. That does appear to have a hook now in Monroe County, although the rotation isn't really evident. Is there a severe threat tomorrow for Oakland County? So Oakland County, the latest SPC outlook issued at 1:30 has cut down the severe thunderstorm risk to the very far southeast counties. So we're talking Lenawee, Monroe, Washtenaw, and Wayne counties. The only counties involved in that are the southernmost four. All right, zoom in on that hook there, Nick. I want to look at that really quick. But yeah, tomorrow's severe threat for Oakland appears to be low, although some gusty winds and small hail do appear possible. The highest instability and overlap of wind shear is going to be in the far southeastern corner. Again, Lenawee, Monroe, Wayne, and Washtenaw counties. So you're talking Ann Arbor, Detroit, Monroe, Adrian, and anywhere between there. So like Dundee, Milan, Saline, talk about Canton, Wayne, Livonia, those areas. Macomb, tiny hail as it's passing through with severe howling wind. Yeah, that hook now looks very interesting. That may become a potential water spout as it crosses over. Luckily, I mean, that hook, if there's nothing on the ground right now, but if that hook was more organized, it'd be right over Woodland Beach, between Woodland Beach and Stony Point. Christine, if you're still watching, hopefully you're in your safe spot. But I would watch very carefully if that storm passes on the lake there. See if you see anything, because that's really starting to tighten up there. That may actually become a water spout here, and it may become that. I don't know. That's a solid looking storm now. That may be. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
All right, new update from Detroit. The warning has been updated to indicate tornado possible with hail confirmed. Tornado possible, hail up to 1.5 inches, as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds. So they are now acknowledging a tornado possible on the storm. So if you are on the beach in Monroe County, Woodland Beach, Detroit Beach, Stony Point, be in your safe place now. We have potential for a tornado there. That is a very indicative structure of a storm to be worried about, although it appears the bulk of this is already on the water, which is a very good news. But again, this area just got hit by a tornado not a month or two ago, so this area does not need any more damage or any more tornadoes. But again, same exact area of this, and the new scan looks like it broadened out very, very briefly there. But yeah, this is Detroit Beach, not Detroit. But that was a interesting feature for sure. That is not something you see every day. So again, definitely significant rain and wind ongoing there in Estrel Beach, as well as Detroit Beach and Stony Point. Looks like the bulk of it now is heading onto the lake. So once this clears fully onto the lake, we'll go ahead and take a peek at some models for tonight if you guys want to see those. But right now, we're going to track this for a few more minutes here. We have one more warning we can watch up in the thumb after this storm is gone. But right now, we don't see anything that's worth mentioning up there besides some downpours and some gusty winds. But this storm in the far eastern part of Monroe County is rotating, although nothing is tight at this time. It is potential for those on the lake for a water spout. If it's not already forming a tornado, it could form in the next couple of minutes. Christine is right underneath that hook where the tornado could be, although we don't think there's a tornado right now. It's possible. She says that she had just lost power, so she is right in between Detroit Beach and Monroe, and that area in particular, she lost power, which is not surprising given the wind speeds we're seeing on radar.
No. I see they updated that severe warning to ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
Yep, so it's very far northeastern Monroe County, so it extends from Woodland Beach all the way up to Flat Rock over to the lake. So if you are in that particular area, although you are in the clear if you're in Flat Rock, it just looks to be crossing into the lake right now. So anywhere east of Telegraph Road, anywhere east of I-75, you are in the threat still. Anywhere west of that, you are outside the threat. So if you're in Berlin Township, if you're actually in Monroe itself, maybe Carlton, Dundee, you are all in the clear. And that radar still looks really good. Look at that hook.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have storms attach themselves to the lake breeze. They really try to start to spin hard. Luckily, it is over water now, so the tornado threat for everybody in Monroe County is over. Again, a severe warning is in effect with a tornado possible, but now it appears to be moving on to Lake Erie. So if you are on Lake Erie or planning to go on Lake Erie, stop now. Do not do it until this storm is past. You do not want to see you intercept a tornado on a boat, on a jet ski, swimming, whatever. Do not do it. Wait till the storm has passed. There is nothing behind this line of storms, so please do not go on the lake. If you are on the lake shore and have damage reports or pictures, send them in to us. We'd appreciate that. We do have a secondary storm has now fired up to the west, a very small cell that is fired up on the outflow boundary of these particular storms that is completely stretched from Jackson all the way down to Monroe. We do have that boundary. It could be a focus for more storms. That is currently over Saline. That is heading to the east-southeast towards London, Milan, maybe Carlton again. So if that continues to strengthen, we'll be heading your way in the next hour or two. I see that updraft out my window. It is a very impressive updraft. So to watch that closely as it continues, especially not only because of the wind shear today, but because it's also on a boundary. So if it follows that outflow boundary, enhanced wind shear is possible, and correlation, a potential tornado threat would occur with that storm. Watching that one closely as the afternoon goes on. We got pounded with nickel-sized hail in Newport. All right, so any damage there? Nickel size shouldn't cause too much in the way of damage, but nickels can still put some dents in some things. The lake definitely makes a difference when it comes to storms. I'm 2 minutes off Lake Huron, northern Port Huron. So yeah, a lot of times we have lake breeze boundaries, but also we have backed flow off the lakes as well. So it really helps to enhance lift, which can strengthen storms, to get storms going, and also put out those boundaries, which can fire off some summertime storms. Especially true in Monroe County, and also especially true in West Michigan along US 131 there when the lake breeze pushes inland from Lake Michigan. That is still a very impressive signature coming off that storm in Monroe County. It's on the lake, so again, tornado threat is over for Monroe County. Again, on the lake here, but still something to monitor as the evening goes on. Nick, if you want to take a little bit wider shot and zoom a little bit to the left towards the 94 corridor there, you can see the outflow boundary. If you look on the velocity map on the right side, you can see where that green and red are meeting. That kind of tracks to the northwest there from Monroe all the way up into, right there. Nick's highlighting it. That is what we call an outflow boundary. The storms, as they were moving, has put outflow winds. As a result, that's going to enhance our lift and potential for more storms as the afternoon goes on. So if you are anywhere still, Lenawee, Wayne, Monroe counties, you are not out of the clear for storms yet. If you are in southwest Michigan, you are, again, not out of the storm threat yet as well, just because we have a secondary threat that looks to be developing now overnight tonight, after midnight in particular. We haven't looked at too many models for that just yet, but that does appear to be another threat coming in later tonight for southwest Michigan. I'm going to go ahead and pull a sounding off that, off ahead of those storms to see what the environment's going to look like. And I'll go ahead and throw some threats out as well, just so you guys watching will already know. But we'll go ahead and post a forecast here in the next hour or so regarding that potential. So tonight, it does appear that the majority will stay wind and hail. I'm going to go ahead and look at one more model here. The NAM 3. The NAM 3 has been the go-to model lately. Usually the NAM is more moist and the HRRR model is more dry, but the NAM has nailed these setups lately in particular. So we're going to trust the NAM model a little bit more tonight than the HRRR. The HRRR did not have, again, any storms firing today, but the NAM 3 did. So that's the second day this week that's happened. So this model in particular has a increased area of, let's go ahead and click this really quickly. Give me 1 second. I do apologize, guys. I'm just working two screens here. Looking at a forecast atmospheric profile sounding for West Michigan tonight and Southwest Michigan in particular, so south of Kalamazoo, Berrien County, Van Buren County, Schoolcraft 131 corridor, that area. So yeah, looking at this, it looks to be mainly a wind and hail threat, probably a gusty wind threat. The tornado threat does appear to be low at this time, so that is a good sign for that. So with that being said, I don't know if you guys have any questions, but with that being said, the threat for severe weather for Monroe is over. The only thing we have left to talk about is up in St. Clair County, and that appears to be mainly just a wind and hail threat. But right now, it does appear to be doesn't appear to be much of anything besides just a small hail type of threat up there in St. Clair counties, which is up by Capac, Emmett, Columbus, Kimball, Brockway, Richmond, Armada, that area. So yeah, that's about it for tonight, guys. We'll go ahead and post a forecast regarding the potential for more storms this afternoon. Again, we have more development along that outflow boundary that's currently over Saline, heading toward the Milan area. So we'll have to watch that closely to see if that can develop into anything. The ingredients are still favorable in the atmosphere today for severe weather. All hazards right now appear to be possible, including tornadoes, but as of right now, it's a low threat. The main threats are going to be wind and hail, but I'm going to take a peek at one more thing before I hop off here, and that is our mesoanalysis. I'm curious if these models are onto something really quickly. I do want to check that. If I can find my app. The environment, especially in southeastern Michigan, does appear to be favorable for severe weather. Michael, our loyal followers, reporting power out in Berlin Township. He's looking for damage now. All right, so we have a new warning now in effect from Detroit. We'll go ahead and cover that in a minute. Looking at where is it at? There it is. So the warning includes Imlay City, Alma, and Attica, up in the northern part of Michigan there. Nick, you want to go ahead and find that? I think he already did.
Sorry, which one?
New warning just got issued from Detroit. It's going to be up in the Thumb, Michigan, just around along 96. I think you're already on it, though.
No, this one was issued at 4:45.
All right, this one just got issued. Attica, Imlay City, and Almont is the area. It may not be up on your screen yet.
I'm not seeing those. I'm not seeing those cities.
Okay.
Is this up here? No.
No, that shouldn't be it. I think it's just, it might just be an extension. Where is this thing? Okay, no, it's the extension on the left edge of that. Not that one up there. Go back up to the thumb. Just to the left of that secondary cell to the left of that cell right there. That's the warning
I see
right
it.
there.
There it
they just
is.
issued a warning for that back end cell there, and that's going to be for wind and hail. No tornado threat this time. All right, looking at the model again, going. I can't find this. There it is. Composite. There it is. So yeah, we have good environment still for development of severe weather. So stay tuned this afternoon if you live in South Central Michigan, in particular the boundary in Southeastern Michigan, and then later tonight after midnight we have a threat for wind and hail in Southwest Michigan along the I-94 corridor. We do have a lot of reports coming to our page now. We'll be sure to post those if necessary. But as of right now, the severe threat appears to be tied to the storms that are in far eastern Michigan, about to cross into Canada and over the lakes.
Sirens going off in where was it? In Berlin Township.
That is more than likely a fire department siren. Christine says tornado sirens are going off. That's a little late. The storm has already passed you.
It might be a fire department, or I don't know.
If you have local fire departments nearby, they may be blowing their sirens to get their volunteers or their alert the public that there could be trees or wires down the area. I know my local town blows it for any type of call, whether it's a medical call, accident, a fire. They'll blow the siren for anything from trees down the roads to power line snap that they need to go stand by, make sure people don't run them over. Garrett, the rotation in southern Michigan has moved on to Lake Erie, so southeastern Michigan. Lapeer County rotation, not this time that we see. It's just going to be some hail.
Yep.
So, yeah, rotation right now. A tornado threat does exist. The warning for Monroe County, severe warning, has been canceled by DTX. So that is no longer in effect for Monroe County. All clear Monroe County. Jacqueline says tornado sirens in Berlin. There is no threat for tornadoes in Berlin. Any sirens going off in Monroe County right now, I'm not sure why. It's all clear.
We got some damage coming in from Michael on the MSC chat or their messenger.
Yeah, there has been some pretty significant wind gusts. We have a trampoline around a telephone pole. He sent us a video here. I'm about to watch this video.
Yeah, we got a trampoline wrapped around a utility pole right now. It must be a video of the tornado sirens going off, or the sirens going off.
Yeah, I can't hear it for some reason, but that's okay.
Bob Hansen says all clear alert. That also could be something.
It might be an all clear alert. I'm not sure. I wish they'd define it as like a nationwide mandated thing that they would blow. Either they do or they don't blow an all clear siren, because a lot of people get confused with that. Some towns do, some towns don't. But as of right now, guys, those of you who are watching, you are all clear in Monroe County, so ignore the sirens. I'm not sure why, Jessica. The threat is over for Monroe County. For now, at least. Everybody's saying the sirens are going off in Monroe County. We got reports from Dundee, Ida. Like these are nowhere near the storms to begin with, and the storm has moved on to Lake Erie. So everybody who is watching in Monroe County, these sirens are blowing right now for no reason. So ignore the sirens. There is no threat at this moment.
Have you seen what else Michael has been sending us?
I just replied to him. If he sends anything else, I'm not sure. It looks like a downburst there.
Yeah.
Whoops, I'm not sure why I sent that.
Yeah, wow, that's a good looking storm. We'll be sure to post those on the page if we get the chance.
Yeah, I'm curious if we can post that one picture of the shelf cloud, because I don't know who replied to that, but that's a really good picture.
You gonna ask him?
I did. I'm waiting for a response out of him or out of her. I don't know who posted it, but
oh,
it was about an hour ago, I believe. It was up in northern Michigan. All right, yeah, Faith Simpson, give us permission.
Okay.
Oh, I can get that up on the page. You got a good picture of a shelf cloud going up on the page from Croswell earlier from Faith Simpson. We're going to go ahead and get that posted to the page.
Good looking hail core in Imlay City.
Yeah, I see that now. It's definitely a supercell as well, so I have to watch that for any potential rotation. But as of right now, just a hail threat. All right, I just got posted to the page. All right, going back on some radar here.
Yeah, look at that hail.
Nothing really. Everything south of. We have a lot of people saying that this funnel cloud was a tornado. I'm not sure if we got damage reports, but we got a lot of people saying it up in Lapeer County earlier. So
it's hard to know if we don't have personal eyes on it.
Yeah, it's hard to know also because it's in behind trees. So if they don't find damage, even if it could have touched down the forest, it may not have done damage just because tornadoes aren't always, what you imagine them being, tearing up houses and stuff. A lot of times, especially in Michigan, we get like these weaker type of tornadoes that barely do any damage. So it's hard to really tell or confirm it, especially if there's no damage with it or if it's a weaker tornado. So we'll see if NWS sends anybody out, but they may just go ahead and call it EF unknown, which is the right thing to do. But sometimes they'll just not even survey and not even confirm it. But as of right now, It's been a funnel cloud up in Lapeer County for sure. Jasmine, there is no threat for tornadoes in Monroe County. It has since moved onshore. Sirens have been sounding across the county for no reason. We do have 2 cells that have popped up near Saline. Those have just started to develop. Nothing there severe at this time. There's not even wind, no hail. They're just pop-up rain showers that are garden variety.
Yeah, as you can see, they are right on that boundary.
Yep, and that's because there's an outflow boundary there. They need to be watched closely to see if they develop into anything because they have a lot of wind shear and a lot of lift with that boundary, especially with the lake breeze boundary close by. And the environment in general, we have a good environment for potential for severe weather, including tornadoes. But right now, Monroe County guys who are wondering about sirens, there is no threat. I really wish these counties wouldn't do that, because when you have a tornado warning that's confined, like we had, or not a tornado warning, but we have a storm that was confined to the very far very far northeast portion of Monroe County, anywhere south of that. So like Dundee, Lambertville, the populated areas in the southern and eastern parts of Monroe County, or western parts of Monroe County, they didn't have any threat. There was probably sun shining and didn't even know there was a storm around. So I really wish they wouldn't sound the sirens countywide just because of that reason. There was really no immediate tornado threat until it came close to the lake shore. But yeah, it's definitely interesting why they're going now.
Right, and they're a little late.
Yeah, it's way past. It's over the lake. I don't know what took so long, but if any sirens needed to sound, I would sound them on the Woodland Beach, Berlin Township area. Those could have sounded a little bit earlier, but anywhere north, I mean, it's 5-6 miles offshore. That's 20-25 minutes offshore.
Yeah,
they're moving pretty slow, so that's really not a good look for Monroe County for sure. Whoever decided to do that. That storm up there has my attention for hail that you just went up there and scrolled to, Nick, and that's definitely a good size hail core ongoing. New warning just been issued for Bay, Michigan. So that's up near the thumb, right up there, right there. That storm center screen.
Yep, I'm trying to get a good radar.
Yeah, it's in between them all.
Bay City needs a radar.
Yeah, so does Bowling Green, Ohio.
Yeah, these dead zones in radar is killing us. But yeah, definitely a hail threat here. Heading towards Beaver, Linwood.
All right, I'm going to get working. Nick, if you want to go ahead and just animate the radar and just do some talking about locations and stuff, I'm going to start working on a forecast map for tonight to get on the page ASAP. For those who you are not watching, we have 25,000 people who follow us. We only have 45 in here, so those ones who don't know need to be notified. So
yeah, look at the radar real quick, though. Look at this cell that moves north into these other cells.
Yeah, so my concern with that is because there's a lot of convergence there. Sometimes when that happens, when that storm gets absorbed, that could cause potential for a strengthening and even tornadoes. So watch that rotation tracker on that storm in particular close to the next 5-10 scans or so.
Yep.
Debbie says it was unpredictable, came up out of nowhere. If you're watching our stream, it wasn't out of nowhere. Just kidding. We were tracking that for a good 20 miles before it came to Detroit Beach there. But yeah, it definitely came on pretty quickly. Gusty winds there. What's going on with Lapeer? I live in North Branch, but I'm not home and getting mixed info. So Lapeer County, Hannah, they had at least funnel cloud. Nothing confirmed on the ground, although it looks to be it looks like a touchdown, but there's been no reports of damage or anything hit or anything like that. But we did have a report of a funnel cloud near Cairo and one near Kingston as well, up in that particular area. But for Lapeer, just sounds like a lot of heavy rain, some wind, and a potential brief, weak tornado. But that's not unconfirmed.
Yep.
So again, you have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect up there. where Nick has the radar loaded up. We have a storm that's merged. We're going to watch for anything. A lot of times when you get convergence like this, storms will like to increase in intensity. So I may still go out to survey damage. I would like to, but I do want to continue with this stream here as well. If I stop talking, guys, I do apologize. I'm making a map for tonight's potential severe. Again, we do have a secondary threat through the afternoon, and especially in southwest Michigan for this evening, where we have a potential squall line pushing in.
Yes.
Again, this can be confined basically to the far southwest portions of the state. If instability holds in the eastern part of the state, it is possible that we could see a more eastward advancement through the 69 corridor into the Jackson and Hillsdale County areas. But that confidence at that happening is quite low at this time. So I'm going to get this up really quickly. I'm still editing this map here. It takes about an hour or so to do a forecast usually, but I'll do this very, very quickly.
You got Super Ryan going on right now.
Yeah, it'll probably be a little bit sloppy as well. I just want to make sure this is up on the page.
Yes. It does look like these cells are either getting reorganized or weakening as the new scans are coming in. Emmett does still have that pretty substantial hail core, though.
A new warning has been issued for Lapeer County for hail and wind until 5:30. Oh, never mind. It's continued. Not new. It's being continued. Luckily, with this forecast, I can just swap out the background and it should keep all the other stuff with it. Yeah, it does.
Perfect.
All right, cool. So that saves me about 10, 15 minutes of time. Chelsea, you can send pictures to our page directly as well as Twitter. You should see an option to message us on our profile page.
I'm going to try to get a post up on MSC as well. Michael has graciously let us use those pictures.
Okay. I will get those posted when I'm done here. For those of you who have faster horses or people who know people have faster horses, you may have a storm threat tonight, depending on how far EC storms can go. It's going to be a very late night too. So
very late. We've got a couple guys loosely talking about a little bit of a night chase action, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Either way, we'll have somebody on here streaming.
Yes.
I volunteer, so if need be, I'll be here streaming anything for you guys. That cell on the right side of your screen there, or the middle cell really, that's really starting to try and hook up there. So near, what is that, Emmett?
There? Yeah, it's Emmett. Here, let me stop radar a second. Yeah, definitely seeing something there along here. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely going to closely watch that one. That is heading into Columbus, Kimball, West Tappan, Marysville.
Thank you for sending those pictures in, Chelsea. We're going to go ahead and get those on the page as well. We have a lot of pictures to post on the page, so give us a few minutes. We'll get them up here in the next hour or so.
Yeah, those are looking awesome.
Michael sent some more stuff. Wow. We have a lot of good stuff to
Oh,
post to the
wow.
page, guys.
That's gorgeous.
So we have some more damage here of some fencing blown over. And
Sorry
also
about
we
the
have
knock.
some small branches down. That's going to be in the Berlin area as well.
That poor trampoline, though. Well, you'll see it when we post it.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to post. We don't want to post too much because not a lot of people see it. So we like to space some posts out here,
Yep,
about every half hour or so. So
we got a question about Bay County thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm.
yeah, if you want to cover that really quickly, just some hail looks like in there.
Yeah, hail. Let's look at the warning again. Hazard, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. Unfortunately, Bay County is in the furthest most reaches of all three radars in Michigan, at least the lower peninsula. So it is not the best when trying to get good, clear radar images. So if we take our distance out here, I mean, we've got about 8,000 feet, almost 8,000 feet to Bay County or Bay City area.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's from Gaylord. Or we can do we go to the Detroit one. Beam height of 7,000 feet. If we go to Grand Rapids here, about 9,000 feet. So yeah, Detroit is definitely the best one to go with for right now. But again, that's just hail and wind at the moment. Let's put a radar loop back up, see how that hook formed and how it disappeared. Yeah, again, this is just mainly a wind and hail threat heading towards Columbus, Kimball, Marysville, St. Clair. You are in the path of this. Michael Collins, the warning does not have anything being said about rotation there. Taking a look over here at those cells that were forming over by York Township and Ypsilanti. They're still looking relatively weak, but we are going to keep an eye on them. And radar scope, again, decided to crash on me, Ryan.
I see that.
Thank you, radar scope.
Radar scope has been unreliable the past couple of days.
I know, I don't like it. There we go. Yeah.
All right, those posts just went out to subscribers, and they're about to be public here in about 2 minutes.
Sweet. But our main focus up here is by Kimball now. Kimball, you've got that hail knocking on your door, along with Columbus. So he's gonna scoot right in between towards Marysville.
Yeah, Julie, we have another storm just south of Ann Arbor, working. Actually, it should be raining on you right now. It's pretty good over Ypsilanti. My radar just updated to reflect that. So yeah, lightning in the area again there for you, Julie. Interesting feature there. Nick pulls up there. The hail looks to be a good concern with that little darker red and pink area there, just to the north of Columbus.
Yes. Let's throw up a correlation coefficient here. We'll do a little drawing action right in here.
Yep, that'd be it.
That's our hail core.
Try the VIL and see what pops up on that, just out of curiosity.
Yep.
Yeah, that pretty big white area has raindrops, and although that's probably a little bit behind.
That's about 10 minutes behind.
Yeah, so you're looking a little bit further east than that. So yeah, your hail is probably good up to quarter size with that. So.
Yep. Let's get this back on velocity here. That's storm relative velocity. We want velocity. There we go.
For some reason, that post is not going on to Patreon.
Well, what the heck?
It just sits here and says publishing. All right, DTX issues a new warning, severe warning for Macomb and St. Clair until 6:45. That's going to be for wind only. That's going to be just north of Detroit.
Just north?
Yeah, Macomb County is the county just north of Detroit there. So.
Oh, I see. So, okay, it just hasn't updated yet. Probably for this Almont
Probably,
cell right
yeah.
here.
Yeah. All right. Patreon's been updated. It says including New Baltimore, New Haven, and Richmond.
Yep. Right in here.
So
it's probably gonna
recap
pop up like this.
Yeah, probably. Recap of what's going on, guys. We have one severe thunderstorm warning, two actually. One for Bay City. That's going to be for hail heading into the Bay City metro area. And then one for the areas of Macomb County, as well as southern St. Clair counties. And that's going to be for wind and hail. Again, Monroe County, for those of you who are on here because of the sirens going off, there is no tornado threat right now. The storm has well off onto Lake Erie. So we're not quite sure why they sounded the sirens, but they sounded the sirens after the storm is on Erie. So
yep,
we have a picture in from Bay City now showing a beautiful, looks to be a shelf cloud. Go ahead and see if we can share this to our page here. See that? Do you see that, Nick?
Whoa. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is gorgeous.
That is very gorgeous up by Bay City. A beautiful sculpted storm up there in Bay City, dropping good size hail. And she says, yes, we can share it. Thank you, Madeline Nye, out of the Bay City area. Guys, you want to check this out on our page here. This is going to go up now just because it's happening in the real moment.
It's gorgeous.
It is very gorgeous.
I wish radar would show that, but it doesn't. I mean, it does. You can see the overall shape of it.
Yeah, it's very, very picturesque. I-75 past Bay City is the location of this.
So this is,
thank you, Madeline, for sending that in.
Yes, thank you very much. We do have some more cells popping up north of there too. So we're going to try to see what the Gaylord radar shows. Yeah, those seem to be popping up pretty quickly. If we look at our differential reflectivity, yeah. That red is that
Where's that at? By
updraft.
Bay City? Yeah.
This is So you got Bay City down here by Linwood here, backside of that. Bright red, north of Billings, east of Gladwin, bright red, and even some more. Excuse me, to the west of that, also firing up. Rose, sorry, voice crack. Rose City, Roscommon, you got some popping up as well. Try to keep an eye on those as well. Come back into here, go back to velocity. Just got an email for a report. Looks like it's going to be a video. What's the track of the back end of that? One by Linwood. That is tracking southeast at the moment. So that is heading towards Linwood. Beaver, it's happening in Beaver right now. Cochlin, I believe, and then going into Bay City. It might just skirt into Saginaw Bay here. If you know anybody who's fishing on Saginaw Bay and they are not aware of this, I believe they should be aware of this. You should be seeing it right now. Tell them to get off the water if this heads out there.
We do have Chloe in our chat saying that they spotted a funnel cloud over the Stony Point area. That was earlier, which is probably what prompted the sirens. Would not be surprising if that happened because rotation was evident there. That was a very impressive radar scan there too. So,
it's like a bird, Cochlin. Gotcha. Where do people come up with these city names?
alrighty. So, with that being said, that just got posted to the page.
That's loud.
Sorry.
Was that the email one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some good structure there.
Okay, I'm making sure this was actually not the same person, so I got to update the new post. I thought there was somebody anonymous who sent us in a photo here, but maybe it's a different person, so I can go ahead and give him credit here.
Yeah, I think it's a different person. I think it's a different person. They said that was around 5 o'clock. They took the video. It does look like we have some broad rotation here again over between Kimball and Columbus, as shown on radar.
All right, yeah, we do have a little bit of area there of interest just to the north of Columbus, between Columbus and Kimball there, as Nick was saying. Nothing, it's probably more so a hail core than it is a rotational core. Excuse me. So just have to watch that closely as it continues to work in toward the Canadian border there in Ontario.
Yeah, storm relative velocity doesn't show too much rotation there.
Right, probably just more like a hail core situation with that. So we do have a continuance of a severe thunderstorm warning for St. Clair, 60 mile per hour winds, 1 inch hail. So that warning remains in effect for that area. So again, if you are in that immediate area, you are under a warning and you should be inside taking your safety precautions. We have so many pictures to get up on our page. We have a lot.
We do. I wish people were home from work, but they're not.
Right. All right, making sure everything's up on here. We do have a forecast posted on our subscription and Patreon, now also public. Amazing structure on these storms today. So if you guys have any pictures to send us, go ahead and message the page. We want to thank everybody who has sent us pictures already. We're going to work to get those on the page as the evening goes on. We just don't want to spam the page, immediately with non-life-saving information because these pictures were from earlier. It's not going to hurt us if we wait a half hour, even an hour to get these up on the page. So again, thank you for posting and thank you for sending stuff in to us. We really appreciate that. But just give us some time before we actually get some stuff on our page.
Taking a look west here towards Hadley, we do have, excuse me, we do have another cell forming here. Definitely something to keep an eye on. It's right on that boundary, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I have to watch that closely. Chloe, there are no warnings for Monroe County. Max, what do you mean get involved? If you mean joining our staff, we're currently not taking on new staff members. However, we are looking at launching a Chase network. Not official staff members, but more like a network of people who are affiliated with us that could report for us. But as of right now, we're taking no new staff, if that's what you mean for getting involved. If you mean other ways to get involved, you can become a subscriber. You can help us out with sending pictures, getting reports into us, stuff like that. We're not taking any new staff on this time. Michigan Severe Weather says, I'm outside of Reese. My weather radio went off for Bay City. He's on standby, hoping to see something. So, yeah, I hope you see something. I can't talk. I apologize. I hope you see something, too. I get ahead of myself. I start, and it just comes out all at once. So,
yes, especially the Bay City area. We definitely need some people seeing. We definitely need eyes in the sky over there with the lack of radar coverage.
Yeah, most of our staff down here and most of our following actually is from Metro Detroit and also the Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Jackson areas. We don't really have very many people up in northern Michigan, so it definitely helps us. If you guys have any reports or see anything that's been reported in northern Michigan, it helps us to definitely keep everybody updated in real time as best as possible.
Yes.
Excuse me.
It does look like this cell, this Kimball, Marysville, it is shifting to the east more easterly track. So Marysville, this is knocking on your doorstep, heading towards the border.
I do have a connection who is a firefighter in Monroe County. I'm going to ask him if he has any other information about a funnel cloud or anything. See if we can get a confirmation from a official standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at this.
That's look at this updraft ZDR, here. Red hot ZDR.
Yeah.
Newport, golf ball size hail about an hour ago. That's official confirmed report now.
That ain't no joke. That'll hurt you if you're outside.
Yeah, any hail is going to hurt you, honestly. But when you get up to the nickel quarter size, when that falls at 40, 50, 60 mile per hour to the sky and hits you on the head, oopsies, you're going to have a bump there if you're not going to be knocked out. So, Max, you want to become involved with spotting. So, first of all, if you're not up to date with your Skywarn certificates and stuff like that, that'd be the first step. Again, we're not currently taking on new staff, but we do have plans to eventually launch a partner network, is what we're going to call it. Once we roll that out, we would encourage you to apply for that. But that's coming the next about month or two or so. So.
Quick shout out to our new Facebook subscribers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys' support. See, we have a few new ones. You can always subscribe to us. You'll get forecasts before anybody else does. You'll get exclusive video content. You'll get severe weather outlooks and winter weather outlooks every single Sunday evening for the upcoming week. We have a lot of benefits for our subscribers. And if you would like to get personalized forecasts, we do offer a $10 per month Patreon subscription. And we only offer it for the $10 because if we're doing personalized forecasts on top of everything else, we'd like to get a little more money for that. But that's also an option as well for those who want personalized forecasts, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly, severe weather forecasts for their specific location, stuff like that. You can go ahead and follow us on Patreon at that $10 per month level. Our Facebook is $2.99 per month, and that gets you the severe weather discussions, forecasts, exclusive like podcast stuff like that, and also discounts on our merchandise. And then we do have multiple Patreon tiers for those of you who are on Patreon. I think we have a $2, a $3, and a $5. I want to say a $10, if I'm not mistaken. And each tier has
Patreon.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Each tier has its own specific benefits, but if you want the severe weather forecasting, the lowest one on either Facebook or Patreon will do it for you. My connection in Monroe County says he has no idea. He has not heard of any funnel cloud in Monroe County. He is a firefighter within the county in the general area, so he has not heard anything.
Yes, we have a $2, a $3, a $5, and a $10.
All right, so for those of you interested in supporting our cause, as we are self-funded, we have those options for you. So
yes, and with that comes with a few different things. One of them being a podcast that we are a little bit behind on. The lack of severe weather for the springtime has definitely put a limit on topics that we can talk about. But we are definitely going to be re-upping that, especially with the event we had Wednesday, and more events in the future. We are going to do recaps. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about forecasts and anything else. We also share chasing stories, fun, funny, and pretty serious chasing stories. What?
I'm just thinking back to what Chandler said about that hotel night, about the story about the guy next to him. That was a funny story. That was on one of our podcasts, but that was really funny. I was dying of laughter.
Little teaser right there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But at this moment, guys, I think being that we are running out of severe thunderstorms, we only have 2 currently in Bay City, and then 1 down by the Richmond, Memphis, Romeo area in southeast Michigan. We're probably going to call it a afternoon here. I know Nick has probably got some things to do.
I do.
As well as myself. With that storm over Bay City about to go onto the lake, we're going to hope that lake will weaken it just slightly, but if it doesn't, it'll head into the Wisner, Caro, Reese areas, and that'll pose a hail threat. And as well, down in Macomb County, we do have that same storm still ongoing here with a wind and hail threat as well. But no tornado threat at this time is possible, or it's possible that these storms could become tornadic, but the threat right now is very, very low. Again, we do have a continued threat for afternoon showers and storms that could become severe across the entire part of the state. However, the highest chance right now is along the outflow boundary, and that's going to be in southeast Michigan, stretching from right around the I'm going to pull this up really quick, right around from Monroe all the way up into the Jackson County area, up into the Lansing area. And again, tonight we do have a secondary severe threat coming out west that's going to impact the Kalamazoo area along the I-94 corridor. That could continue to push eastward. We're unsure how far it's going to make it before it dies. We do expect it to die out before reaching southeast Michigan. But we'll be on either way, no matter where it is or how long it takes. We'll be on here making sure you guys are informed for those of you who like watching and staying up to date. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to hop off. If you want to continue, Nick, you can. But for me personally, I'm going to hop off, grab some dinner.
I'm going to hop off as well.
All right. So Nick will hop off as well. Thank you all for watching, and continue to send your stuff in to us if you have content from today.
Yes.
But yeah.
And Michael Collins, I did see that. Do we have permission to post that? You can answer in the chat. That's fine.
All right. I'm probably need some food, and
Yep.
I will probably head out to the Carlton area to look for damage if we get any more specific reports. Otherwise, I'm probably going to be live tonight. So thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.